Hey, Anchovy. Hi, what's your macro? I don't use macros. I don't use the macro system. I don't really find it to be working very well with my ping, anyways. When I did like try to mess around with it. So. Thanks for the follow, Fry18 with that. But yeah, I haven't used the macro system. Well, let's see if today we can actually find a group for this. Maybe 3322. Hello, Raiden. Should be a bit less fried today since I actually got some sleep. If you can believe it, if you can believe that. You know, it's funny what straight up not sleeping does to your body, right? So it's still a bit cooked, still mildly cooked, but at least yeah, we're getting there. Hello, you kitty as well. Sleep is a myth. Well, brother, I'm living in a legend then. Me. Sleep with that, yeah, man. Crazy, right? I still had a bunch of stuff to do today, but at least I was able to catch a little bit of time to myself, get a little bit of sleep. I even sat down and leveled my elementalist for a bit, just like do some brainless activities, you know? Just sleep in the room with us right now. Well, not as of now. He took off. Not me having slept almost 30 hours last week. Last weekend? Oh. I was gonna say last week, that sounds like a reasonable time for an entire week, but yeah, weekend is you know. But yeah, I'm here today. Yo, Sakura. I'm here today. I still have stuff to deal with in relation to the situation in the next few days, but things should stabilize a bit. I will need to not. I won't need to be as involved with it, but at least a little bit. So I should be able to take back on a more regular rhythm. Yeah. Sakura is gay. Be careful. Well, he's not the only one in the chat, so this is a safe space. Survey says that 110% of this chat is like highly homosexual. Alright, 1, 2, 3, and all of these groups have 2 clerics already. Fuck. I really need to get my sanctuary out of the way, man. Like, I have to do it on my cleric, I have to do it on my chanter, I'm gonna have to do it on my assassin soon. I just need to get this shit out, man. I have to. I might just make my own group. Might just be the next step. Oh, perhaps so, perhaps so. But yeah, you know, I'm still not out of the waters, but at least things will be a bit less exhausting, you know, outside of the mental toll. But I'm a strong boy. I can deal with it, right? This chat is gay? Couldn't be me. Yeah, I believe that. I believe it. I believe you. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna create a room. How about them apples? 1, 2, 3. Let's say 3,000 plus. You know what? 3.1. Oh, let's do that. Let's have a chanter in each group. And call it a day. Oh yeah, the elementalist is 45, which I was genuinely shocked at how fast it is to level an elementalist. Like, I don't know, man, this class just does so much damage. Even compared to like other DPS classes, like when I compare to when I leveled Assassin, the Elementalist leveling process was so fucking easy. It's kind of unbelievable, honestly. Like I knew Elementalist was good for leveling. I didn't think it was that good, you know. This guy says 2. Which one are you? This, alright. Oh, you can drag and drop, alright. Gotcha. How many times? How many times have we run this? 4. Right, let me change that. Let me, I'll type 3. Yeah, I do need an additional Cleric. This guy's, I mean, he has an Ebony weapon. Oh. Okay, let me check the rest of them. Also, let me kick that. Change that to a healer slot. Yes, I'm very strong enough, glad. True, actually. That's a very true statement. My fattest dungeon run are me single DPS, Cleric, Chanted Temp. Yeah, SM just does insane damage. Like, okay, I'm already getting a pretty strong sense of of the problems with the class, if that makes sense, right? And I will discuss about this once I'm through with the class, but this guy can't be fucking serious. You're going to boss. Dude, who cares? Dude, the game's been out for 3 months. The bosses are getting fucked in 5 seconds. If you're not able to do both bosses, I don't even think I want you inside of the group. Okay, this guy's getting kicked. Find a healer. You know what? If you can't fucking read, I'm just gonna kick you. Fucking get out of here, dude. I don't fucking cromede. Brother joins a 1, 2, 3 groups and asks if we're killing Ludra. You know? Like... I'm not. I don't want to be patient. Like, that's it, dude. I've had enough with these people. Let me switch this guy, I guess. Templar. Yeah, I mean, these guys are 3.1, like that's good enough, right? But like Elementalist, I feel like just a quick like observation, right? Is a very easy way they could fix the biggest problem with Elementalist I'm seeing so far is that can I switch him for this? Yeah, I can. Right. Yeah. Like just put the pet summoning on a different bar. Don't give them levels, right? Just dissociate them from the fact that they have levels, right? Just put the pet summoning on a different bar and make the tier of the pet depends on the Elementalist level. And just add one skill that basically does what the summon skill does. You know, if that makes sense? No, dude, just... In the sense that, so you know, every time you summon a spirit, it does like a nuke depending on the spirit and like with a specific effect, right? So you just put one button that does that exact thing, right? on the basic skills, right? Is there a setting to turn other players' skills off? Yes. I'm pretty sure there is, yeah. But yeah, you add a button like that, and then you just add a couple of you add a couple of extra skills, right? And then I see what people mean when they say that Elementalist is slow. Like basically the left click, right click does feel a bit slow compared to other classes, I guess. But I think this is something that will matter less if the TTK is longer, if that makes sense. I think it's fine to have a class that is slower and more deliberate, but the only reason why it doesn't work right now is because the TTK is so fast, right? So I think they need to reduce Elementalist damage a bit in PvP. They need to give it more utility. They need to move the pets to a different pet bar, right? And they need to increase the overall TTK in the game. And with just that, I think the class is good enough, because otherwise the class is actually quite interesting. If it would put specific specialty meters like LOA or drop gauges like 14, SM would benefit so much, yeah. Yeah. But I think in many ways Elementalist feels alright. Like honestly, out of the class feels fine if you actually engage. If you actually engage with the class's mechanics instead of like putting just the dot and left click right click on the same button like a lot of people seem to be doing, the class feels fine. Like it has a lot of procs, it has a lot of like things, you're rotating pets, you know what I mean? Like I think it's fine. Although, okay, with the current way the pet summoning works, it does feel a bit annoying that you have to press the proc button when you summon a pet instead of just the pet button getting replaced by the proc, I guess. Like that is one thing that is a bit annoying, that it's not like that by default. But, you know, you're 2.9, you could just go away, dude. This is a Lulu group. It would be rigid build-wise, it would make the class feel better. Yeah, but I mean, as long as they just go the pet bar route with summons, and then they just replace the summon skill on like, either they put the summon skill on like the procs, or they literally just give you a button that has like an attack that has different effects depending on the pet you have out, just like in Iron 1, right? And then I think some of the other skills they could give would be I think a buff that does something different based on the pet you have out would be interesting, right? Hello Thrice, and thanks again for the prime the other day, by the way. But yeah, like I think you put this skill, you put a buff, like a group buff that does something different depending on what pet you have out, and like stuff like that, right? And then perhaps dissociating the seal stigma and putting it as a default skill, right? I think would be decent. If you need a video idea explaining how combat works and the way skill attack, because that part confuses the fuck out of me. Well, Svala, I mean, I see exactly what you mean, and at the end of the day, like there's still an infinite amount of videos I have to make about this game. Although you do have to keep in mind, and I know this is not like the necessarily what you want to hear, but fact of the matter is, to begin with, realistically, in terms of Iron 2 content creation, like, oh, it's gonna fucking empty out. You know what? Fuck this. I'm just gonna do something else. Fuck this. I'll just stream earlier tomorrow. But either way, in terms of content creation on Iron 2, the Western player base is so incredibly tiny right now because not many people are willing to play on Korea and Taiwan, that there are very specific types of videos that I don't want to make right now because they would help a minuscule amount of people, and I would have to remake that exact video every time they change the systems because the game is constantly changing, and I'm gonna have to remake this video when the game comes out in the West anyways, you know what I mean? So right now I mainly want to focus content into discussion type stuff, like saying this is how the content is right now, this is what I would like them to do, right? And then guides on content that freshly came out. So this way, the people who are playing and are struggling because of the language barrier right now, they have a reference point to look at in English, where they can actually have a proper guide and get into the content without getting kicked because they're foreigners, you know? So I want to focus on these two. And then on the rest of my time, I just focus on streaming, right? By the time global is probably would be different. Yeah, exactly. And like, look, I've already made guides, like non-specific guides about broader systematic things in the game. And fact of the matter is, within like 2 weeks of me making those guides, the systems had already changed. But the thing that you have to understand is, like, with my YouTube channel is I don't do fancy editing because I'm already very stretched for time. Like, I've been doing this for 2 months and I've already released like 25 videos or something. And like every single one of my videos, every single one, I write down a script, right? I correct that script, I record the audio, I handle the audio, and then I do some light editing, I get the footage, I do everything. And like, while I'm not doing any fancy editing, because again, I'm trying to gain some time, these videos do take a decent amount of time to make as is, right? So I want to commit my time into something that is more immediately useful to the people who might want to interact with the Iron 2 videos right now. Yeah. I think it's a good idea, so we can start with a full force since global is out. Yeah. I mean, basically, as global gets closer to the time of release, like my plan is like, let's say on the month of global release, I'm gonna be releasing a bunch of videos about the combat system, how every classes feel, what every classes do, what every type of content is, what are the different systems, like so on and so forth, right? And then when the game actually comes out in global, then I'm gonna release a bunch of like player guide to entry-level endgame. So like, let's say if we come out with season 1, then you're gonna have your Dropner cave, your Crow cave, like your Urugugu, so on and so forth, right? And then as time goes by, I'm gonna evolve with making more game focused, like game system focused guides, right? And as people advance more into the game, right? So yeah, that's kind of my current plan, right? Hello, Lapara. I'm not native English, so excuse me when I text nonsense sometime. No, I mean, that's fine. Dude, I'm not native English either. Like, I say plenty of shit that is probably doesn't make sense either sometimes. Like, it's fine. It's okay. Alright, so anyways, I'll take one last look at this, and if I just can't find a group outright, I'm just gonna do something else. Because I think... What day are we? Okay, let me check the day, because... Yeah, we are Friday, so I think tomorrow I'm actually gonna be mostly free in the middle of the day, so I might actually do an earlier stream tomorrow. So I might just try to do Sanctuary at that point. I think that would be a better idea. TD trading on the global release date when? Yeah, man, I'm gonna draw some cards, dude. I'm gonna use Arcanas in real life. Like I'm gonna do some ghost summoning. Like bring back the spirit of the dead from Iron 1, you know? Yeah. Speaking of, by the way, and like, again, this is more of a me to you type chat, right? Because obviously the people who are in chat right now are probably like some of my most like loyal people, because, you know, stream is early and everything. But I do also intend on not only doing Iron 2, especially while the game is not out on global. So there's a non-zero chance, depending on how things goes, maybe I'll have a variety day throughout the week, or maybe even I will go back on Iron 1 and maybe play Iron 1 a bit alongside Iron 2, just to like help alleviate like, and not risk burnout before global comes out, right? But obviously all of this stuff would not be on the YouTube. It would just be like an occasional stream. September 13, 10:32:57. That's my guess. That's a good guess. Honestly, that might be one of the more reasonable guesses I've seen in chat, so take that as you will. You know what's crazy? There is so many things Iron 2 has right now that Lost Ark had the same mistake and needs to fix. Like having everything in your inventory instead of making another time and storing it there. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why that is because typically when these games, right, like Korean games, when they come out in Korea and Taiwan in this case, which, you know, typically doesn't happen. Like typically it's just Korean releases, right? Typically, Korea is like a test market for the rest of the world, and the game basically come out in a sort of like soft beta, like late beta beta testing phase, right? So there's a bunch of shit with that. If this was the actual definitive game release, people would look at it and be like, why the fuck is this like this, right? And I mean, I don't know how long you've been playing Iron 2, but they've already significantly improved a lot of this, and like every patch they basically like keep very slowly iterating and improving on things that should have been there from the start, right? But that's just the nature of those Korean releases. It's just how they do things, I guess, right? And by the time the game reaches global, it's not gonna look anything like this, you know? The running meme was Korean Lost Ark is a test server. It's like this in every Korean release, dude. You have no idea. Like, again, because we're playing Iron 2, right? Like, the most probant example is with Iron 1. Like, when Iron 1 released in Korea, the game was fucking in a terrible state, alright? And people got a tiny glimpse of that when they did Iron Classic, and for some fucking reason, they released Iron Classic on the same patch as the original Korea in NA. And people were like, why the fuck is all of this missing from the game? And that's with Classic technically being an improved version of the early release, right? But dude, when Iron 1 released, half of the classes in the game were completely unplayable. Most skills made no sense. There was no remove shock. Flight was bugged as fuck. There was a ton of animation problems as well, right? Like, some skill icons were reused within the same class, right? Like, Iron 1 was a mess on the Korean release. And we had no endgame. That, like, at the very beginning, there was no endgame. There was no dredgen. There was no raid. There was nothing, you know? What game is this? This is Iron 2. We need better rifting structure, give us a Scalan cap. Yeah. Question is, will it launch from patch 0 or launch on the recent patch at the date? Well, if they go the Iron 1 route, the way Iron 1 released in the West is we basically, when Korea got 1.5, the game released in 1.5 in the West. So with all of the improvements that I talked about, right, with the skill icons be proper, a lot of skill corrections, like class balance, the addition of stuff like Dark Poeta, Dredgen, and some of the other endgame instances, right? Like, that's what they did with Iron 1. I think what is the most likely with this game is that we're gonna go through the same seasons as Korea. So with the same content that those seasons had, but we're gonna get like 1 month long seasons instead of 2 months until we catch up with Korea. I think this is the most likely route. But the season 1 that we're gonna get is gonna have all of the QOL from the latest patch from Korea. I think this is the most likely course of action. Prove me wrong, but I think that's how it's gonna be. That makes sense, but it will make the grind hard. Not really, because usually when they do accelerated schedule, they also do stuff to go alongside that accelerated schedule. Like, for example, improved baseline gear from the storyline, and like higher drop rates, and fastened progress on systems like, let's say, Arcana and stuff like that, right? Like, it usually goes hand in hand. Like, I don't know how many of you played Throne and Liberty, but the global release of Throne was basically like this. It was, we got the base game that Korea had with all of the newest QOL, and with a high like speed of the schedule, and like, you know, improved progression on everything to go alongside that accelerated schedule. Now, those kinds of patches are not without problems, because at the end of the day, base game is not meant to have the QL from the latest patch. And that is one of the biggest problems games run into when they do accelerated schedule, right? And that's also the problem Throne ran in. It was especially bad when Throne decided to release a new class that was basically like Korea was already past the first expansion, while Global was at the beginning of base game, and we got the new class, and the new class was absolutely not thought for the state of the game at that point, right? Also, let me turn on the little dude. I forgot. Let's see. There you go. Iron One had a number of double XP weekends and whatnot to push people to max level faster. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't worry about it. I think, like, if we have an accelerated schedule, there's gonna be the other stuff to go alongside it. And even Ion Classic had an accelerated, like, release schedule. I tried Throne and Liberty, wasn't my thing. Not many people are challenging. I don't know, like, weapon swapping, that's just me. Game looked beautiful, though. The thing with Throne and Liberty is... Okay. Also, I'm not playing the game right now. I should probably be. Dude, I don't know. I'm a little cooked, so I'm struggling to do two things at once right now. If Sakurai and Raiden are in the chat right now, we can get card runs going if you guys want. If they don't give me the crop top day one scale, I will flip the sum tables. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. In general, I think the overall monetization and stuff like that might be fairly different in EU. And the reason why I believe that is because... And also, I'm gonna go back to your what you were saying, Zvava, in just a second. Just let me finish that train of thought. But I think basically because they basically poached a bunch of the people that got laid off from Amazon that worked on the Throne and Liberty localization. I have good confidence that these people have an understanding as to what the Western region wants, because they actually did a quite decent job at adapting the game to the West in terms of its monetization, right? So I don't think it's gonna change drastically, right? I think people who are expecting the Kuna to Kina system to go away are fucking delusional. I'm not worried in Lost Ark. If they work again, I'll just leave. Yeah, take your time, it's fine. I'm just... Look, man, at the end of the day, just... You guys have to consider the streams I'm doing these days, considering everything that has been happening to me in real life. You guys have to consider these as bonus, right? So, I'm just taking it a bit chiller than usual. I'm not tryharding as hard, and I'm just happy to be here and talk to you guys, you know? So, you know, no hurry, alright? But yeah. I think people who expect the Kuna to Kina system to go away on the Western release are completely delusional. This is here to stay, and this is not even necessarily a problematic feature, if I'm gonna be honest, because at this point, this is probably the least offensive way to do pay to win in a live service this day and age. And I'm not saying that I like it, I just have played a lot of games, man. And if I'm gonna be honest, this type of stuff I have the least amount of problems with. At the end of the day, it's on them to just adjust in-game systems to not feel as bad when tied to that thing. And they've been going into that direction of like removing Kinesyncs and making stuff that were making you swipe the most easier on people who don't swipe. So if they keep going in this direction, I think it's fine, right? But I do absolutely think that the main changes are going to be on the side of the subscription in itself, right? And I'm gonna die on this hill. I think they're going to remove the second sub, just completely remove it, right? And I think the first sub is gonna be obtainable through in-game means. Now, it's still gonna make money to the company, but with that I mean that either you're gonna be able to purchase a token and sell it to other players to activate the sub, or you're going to be able to gift a sub, or the sub is going to be purchasable with Kuna. But I think this is going to be the main change within the game. You might want to change your game to just chatting. I'm in Iron 2 right now. Look, I'm pressing a button. I'm playing the game. I don't care about the cash to gold. They just need to decrease that sub cost and combine them and make it one. Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, I basically answered that with what I just said, right? I don't think they're going to combine them. Because at the end of the day, you also have to consider the audience of the other regions. And you can't really sell the sub for 30 bucks in Korea and then sell that exact same sub for 10 bucks in NA. From a company to customer perspective, because you can't fucking believe, and justifiably so, that the people in Korea and Taiwan would absolutely bitch about this. Right? We're not even talking about optional items in the shop. We're just talking about the fucking subscription price, right? So I think when it comes to the West, the second sub is gonna get removed outright. And the first sub is gonna stay the same. So I think the first sub is like, what? It's 12 bucks right now, something like that, right? And we're gonna have in-game means to get that sub. And these are gonna be the main changes, right? Yeah. I think that's probably gonna be it. Now, another big change, I guess, is probably that when we're gonna get Season 1, I think they're gonna be more careful with the way they introduce gear, in the sense that I personally believe that when it comes to crafted gear, I think Season 1 is only gonna have maybe the first two, so Star Dragon and Dark Dragon, and they're gonna like roll out crafted gear slower, right? Basically, and not make everything available at once. Like, they're not gonna have everything be in the game from the get-go, basically. Like, they're gonna roll it out more progressively. And perhaps even with the content they're gonna do that, who knows? Because in Season 1, Sanctuary was available from the beginning of the game. I think they might actually wait like until after a month has passed to release Sanctuary and stuff like that, right? Just so people don't go into Sanctuary and make Horned Dragon gear within like week 2 of the game or something. Like, I think that's another change that's gonna happen. But beyond that, I'm not really expecting them to do much. At the end of the day, the monetization in this game is it's kind of whatever to me, right? Like, obviously there's a ton of whales, but especially especially in Taiwan, there's a big RMT problem, so everyone is like omega juiced. But especially with systems like Inheritance being out, as a free-to-play player, you eventually reach that cap, and then with stuff like Inheritance, you're just kind of done with the upgrade systems. So yeah, we'll have to see how the level 50 cap expansion is. Like, we do have to see if they maintain the progression of like gold and orange, or if they shift with the 50 cap into orange and purple, for example, and gold gets completely phased out. And if that's the case, then we might have a different discussion. But if they upkeep the gold and orange stuff, we'll see. If it's anything like BDO, I'm assuming they will come with full content release that will be there in Korean Taiwan servers on global. Yeah, I mean, as I said, right, we're just gonna get an accelerated schedule for like 6 months or something, and then at this point we're gonna be synced with Korean Taiwan, and then it's probably gonna be simultaneous release worldwide, which is one of the main reasons why I think they want to handle the West by themselves, right? And that's basically what they're doing in Throne and Liberty now. So clearly they are capable of doing that, even with a smaller game with a smaller crew. So yeah, that's basically what's gonna happen. Real endgame is transmog equipped just to look good? Brother, tell me about it. Like, people don't even know. Okay, I saw someone bitch about something in this game, and I need to talk about it. Someone was bitching that, oh my god, I'm so tired of modern game making the in-game skins look like fucking trash, and then the actual good skins are in the shop. Like, okay. I don't think it's as bad as Lockstar, the pay to win. I don't think it is either. Like, as far as Korean games, like, this has been pretty tame so far. I do want them to change a few systems to make it less of a pain in the ass. Like, namely, as I said, I think Orange Gear, and if Orange Gear did not exist, this game's monetization would be perfect to me. The fact that this exists is my biggest problem. And also the fact that this has no PvP nerfs. Oh yeah, anyways. There's no chance to transfer roster to, you know, no. Whatever you do in KR and Taiwan is gonna be just isolated to these servers. You're basically like enjoying early access with shitty ping, right? Like don't expect to carry over any amount of any progression. But yeah, okay. So back on the topic I was just talking about, right? So people who are saying the stuff about the skins in the game, right? I'm sorry, but if I'm gonna be honest, let's see, what's the closet shop? I never bought it. Okay, I think it's this, right? Okay. I'm genuinely of the opinion that the shops, I guess I have to buy that, right? That's a Hanukina. I already bought it. Okay, so these, right? These skins that you buy in the shop, all of these skins are fucking dog shit. This is my opinion. All of these skins look terrible. Like, this is just Guna bait, right? And pretty much all of the shop skins look fucking terrible. The actual in-game skins are actually pretty good, man. It's just that for a lot of them, you have to go out of your way to find it, or like combine skins to get them. There's event box you missed in the shop. I did. I never go to the shop, and also I haven't really played the last few days, but I'll take a look at it. But like, dude, people don't realize, man. I'm telling you, people do not realize how sick some of these sets are, dude. Like, I've showed those before in the stream, but like, there's a couple of skins that you get from the world bosses, and people don't even realize that these are in the game. Like, let me see. I think it's called Sandstorm, right? Silent Hunter. I mean, that's pretty good, but that's not. Let me... Okay, this one. This is an in-game skin. This is an in-game farmable skin. Like this. Let me remove that. I don't like this hat, but this skin is an in-game farmable skin. You know, like all of these skins, right? Like, oh, this one is kind of whatever. I mean, it's kind of okay, but like all of these skins are in-game farmable skins. Like, I'm genuinely of the opinion that this game has like some sick fucking skins, dude. Yeah, like, I don't know, man. People are out of their mind with the whole skin shtick, right? Yeah, and even if you want like Guna skin, bro, you've got the Goon. The Goon is available in the game, you know? It's right there. It's at arm's reach, you know? And also skins are pretty generous, because like once you're them, you want to have them, you can apply them infinitely. Like, dude, in Iron 1, skinning was a fucking life decision. Nightmare looks like the black and purple one, yeah. I think they killed the free craftable skins. Pay-to-win skins are average at best, and Asian prefer Guna skins. They killed the free craftable skins. What do you mean by free craftable skins? Also the fact that we don't have armor types, you can skin every armor set. Yeah, exactly, right. And yeah, I mean, as you said, like, even the content itself, pretty much every single type of content have skins that you can buy, right? Like, this is a Nightmare skin. This is another Nightmare skin. Hey, look, speaking of gooning, there you go. Like, yeah. Like, the season shop also has, right? Like, that's the Neemon skin, right? Like, look, this is sick. This is pretty fucking good, dude. That's an in-game skin. Like, this is better than anything we've seen in the fucking cash shop. Alright? Like, be fucking real, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, even the PvP skins are... Honestly, I think the PvP skins are fine. Like, I don't really like the Tribunus, but... Like, I think the Decanus is fine, right? It's not amazing or anything, but like, this is entry-level gear that you farm in a few days, right? I think the Centurion looks really good. I think the Centurion set looks really good, personally. Like, I really like this set. Right? Decanus mentioned, indeed. Now, the Tribunus is kind of whatever. Like, this looks like a cloth set, right? Like, this looks like what the Tribunus set would have been for Sorcerer on Iron 1. And then the High Commander skin obviously is like really over the top. But yeah. The mace looks sick though. Dude, this mace and shield looks fucking sick, dude. What I mean now, the skins that you get by paying and the kill in a positive sense in the game farming are too good compared to a shop one. Yeah, exactly. Like, the in-game skins are really good. I genuinely have no complaint. And dude, this headpiece drops from the new Bakama dungeon. Like, this headpiece is so sick. It's so detailed, right? Like, this, honestly, this would not have shocked me as a shop skin, but it's available in game. Imagining recovering gear, dude. I mean, the dying system in this game is pretty good, honestly. Pretty good. And it's fairly inexpensive as well, I would say. And because it's Kuna, you can technically just die with Kina, because you can just transfer your shit, right? They could put indie game skins, or actual factions are any good. Yeah, for real. Like, if you want to hunt for skins in this game, like, you're eating good for sure. Even some of the less like likely skins to look good actually look fairly decent, right? Like, yeah, no, they did well. Did well, 100%. But yeah, I mean, bottom line is, like, it's fine. And also, like, when it comes to the pay to win in terms of the gear in itself, like, if I'm gonna be honest, if they continue to go in the direction that they've been with the recent PvE content, which is that the PvE content doesn't really require you to have the highest end of crafted gear. So, which means that even a regular fucking Lambda player that doesn't pay anything can just challenge and clear the PvE content as it comes out and just farm the rewards just like anyone else in the game. If they continue to do that, I genuinely do not give a shit if a whale gets crafted gear to beat content faster than me, right? I genuinely don't give a shit. And on the PvP side of things, obviously stuff like amplification and so on are like a big advantage, and I will still die on the hill that amplification was added into the game too early. I think amplification is the type of system that you wait until like the first expansion to introduce, but you know, it is what it is, right? Now that we are getting more mats and we are getting more Kina from content, like, this is actually quite accessible to anyone in the game. So whatever. And then the PvP gear in itself is really easy to get. The soul binds are really annoying. Soul binds is the one system I really want them to see. But just to finish my train of thought, if me as a player that has 200 ping, that doesn't pay anything in the game, and that is staying competitive in both PvE and PvP at the same time simultaneously, which means that I have to make sacrifices when it comes to gear upgrade, if I'm able to... Dude, look at my arena elo. If I'm able to do this, and to reach that point, I've had to basically exclusively do arena against whales with capped gear. If I'm able to do this, and if they go even further with the TTK in the game, where they rebalance the damage formula to make the TTK even longer and the fight's even more strategic, like, I'm good. You know? Like, I'm good. People complain about 2-3 battle passes tied up with pay to win, but honestly I won't confirm Kina and buy them. Okay, I will say with the battle passes, on the topic of the battle passes, having Kina passes is great. Thank God they're doing those kind of passes with like small amounts of Kina. Honestly, GG's. GG's, because a lot of games would have just like sold these for Kuna, so thanks. But having 3 passes at the same time, now I understand that these passes are divided into 2 months, so technically speaking, you're only technically paying for 1.5 pass per month, right? But I don't want them to do more than 1, maximum 2 passes with this game. I think 3 is pushing it, especially right now in Taiwan with the Kinaflation problem, making Kina pretty much worthless on the exchange. Like, it's a bit rough for free-to-play players to purchase battle passes. Like, you're basically looking to set yourself back 60 to 70 million Kina to buy the passes right now, right? Which kind of sucks. So I hope when it comes to the West, we're gonna have 1 pass, maximum 2, if there's like an event or something, and just leave it at that. Samuels will take out Revenge, Mortgage, and dumpster me in the Abyss. And then, yeah, I mean... and look, at the end of the day, I don't like pay to win either, but I can stomach some amount as long as I'm able to still play the game normally and compete as a non-paying user. Like, that's my standard. And you have if you have a different standard, that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. This is just the way I'm looking at it, especially as someone that has played out a bunch of other MMOs, including KMMOs and including Iron 1. Skill issue, yeah. What is TTK? TTK is time to kill. It's basically the length it takes an average PvP encounter to conclude with one of the side dying. Are you able to find the skin of the armor we get from Dropnir? I searched, couldn't find it, burned the chest trying to get this. The skin of the armor we get from Dropnir. Which one? Maybe if you're a bit more specific, maybe I can give you a proper answer. I have a different opinion on the enhancement part. If there isn't much diversity, devs are forced to do class balancing, which will be a nightmare for a class that launches through 3 months back. If everyone can achieve the same gear right off the bat, I'd say heroics a bit much the early game, maybe 1-2 items. I mean, in terms of like gear differential impacting class balance and game feel, I agree with that. Although I will say that Iron 1 had basically very similar pay to win, if not more. But the reason why PvP felt fine, even as a free user in Iron 1, was specifically because the TTK was fairly long. Even in the patches where the TTK was like the shortest it's ever been, it was still longer than this game. And because of that, it made the game rely more on strategic play rather than just smashing button to deal damage in a lot of cases. Which means that even with gear differentials, as long as the gear gap wasn't incredibly wide, like, you still felt like there was player input. So if they make the TTK longer in this game, and they obviously adjust a couple of mechanics, I think it's not going to be that bad. The whales in Korea were only OP for 1 week, so it's okay for me to waste like 50k? I mean, yeah, pretty much, right? Like, and also you have to keep in mind that they were OP because the OP-ness at the beginning was especially prevalent because of incredible class unbalance and eye-level scaling being absolutely fucking tragic at the beginning of the game in PvP. The walls being OP was also tied to TK, but it was, yeah. Like, there was more to it than just the gear diff and the whaling. It was, and I've said, I was saying that, like, I don't know if you've been watching me for a while. This is something that I talked about before, where people are attributing a lot of stuff to whaling and pay to win instead of correctly attributing them into pure, unfiltered class imbalance and wackiness. Like, there's a lot of stuff that people look at and say, this is because of whaling, where in reality, it's just because of shit balance. Now, I'm not saying that the whaling makes no difference. Don't get me wrong. It absolutely does, especially with more specific class matchups right now. But there's definitely a lot that comes from general class wackiness. The Bakama chess piece, from the original Bakama or the new Bakama? Unique. Let me have a look. Like, you mean this one? The one with the open chest? Like this? But yeah, like, if you look at the very beginning of the game, the whaling situation especially happened with people playing Gladiator, and I think everyone looked at the same clip that everyone saw, right? From Korean Jesus spending 50k to get plus 18 PvP gear on like week 2 of the game, right? And then diving into a group of players and not taking damage and stuff. And the thing is, Gladiator at the very beginning of the game was so incredibly imbalanced that even me, as a pretty hard, like, hardcore PvP player from like Iron 1 and Throne and so on and so forth, Gladiator legitimately made me give up on PvP for like a full month until they fixed a lot of the broken game mechanic, right? So that had a lot to do with that. And then like other minor stuff, right? The only incentive to do pay to win at this point is for the seasonal titles and statues for Pantheon. Socially, people in Korea are too competitive in general, so it works there with their culture. I mean, for the title, I guess, yeah. For the Pantheon, it's kind of whatever, because the Pantheon stuff is actually like seasonal. But I'm guessing the title you will be able to keep the to give the aesthetic. Like, for example, I was Grandmaster in Season 1, so like I'm gonna be able to keep this title, but it won't have any effect in Season 3, I don't think. Yes, the one with open chest. Yeah, I mean, if you want that skin, you basically just have... The way the skinning works in this game is you just dissolve a piece of gear and then you have like a 20% chance or something to get the skin. But obviously, for the most part, if you want a skin... If you want a skin of any type, especially one that is hard to obtain, you literally just want to go through the system. The skin combine, right? So like if you want a gold skin, you just combine blue, and then you pray that you get the skin, right? Like that's pretty much all there is to it. Yeah. I might be behind because I'm driving and losing connection sometimes. I apologize if I'm so late. It's fine, dude. Don't worry about it. It's not like I'm doing anything in game right now. I'm waiting for Raiden and Sakura to be like, yeah, let's do card dungeons. And you know what? Actually, I'm just gonna do SM stuff until we figure it out. Thing that people don't think about: if you care only about PvE, pay to win means pretty much nothing unless you want to be a rank 1 Transcendence runner. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about FOMO and it's about people looking too much at what other people are doing, right? And people being like, oh, my entire achievements are invalidated because another guy swiped to get better gear or something. Which, look, I get it, right? Like, if that's a you thing, I'm not gonna judge it. That's your prerogative to see things this way. That's just not how I personally see it. I'm the type of guy that, look, I've mentioned before that I still play Final Fantasy 11, and like I like to, and basically the way I play Final Fantasy 11, because every time they add content, it just added into the game. They never make content obsolete, right? So basically every time I play the game, I have this huge list of stuff they added by the time I was gone, and when I come in, I just tackle the shit I haven't done, and then once I'm done with the content, I work on like old objectives and like, you know, and stuff like that, and like long-term stuff, and you know, and once I'm done, I move on, you know. And so the way I look at it is I play the game for the video game. I don't play the game to tell everyone I have a massive hog, right? That's kind of my mentality with it. And like if I'm also able to show people that I have a massive hog, then so be it, you know. And sometimes it happens. Even as a free player, even in this game, I've been able to tell the entire herd that I do have, in fact, a massive hog. But it's fine, right? It's a video game. Stop role-playing as investors. Like, stop role-playing as investors. Stop role-playing as stock market people. Stop role-playing as a game developer. Just play the video game, enjoy it for what it is, and then if you don't fuck with it, that's fine. And there's always room to bitch about stuff, but I think people need to stop. I think people genuinely need to take a fucking step back and stop nerfing their enjoyment of a game or anything in life just because someone else did it before them. Who gives a shit, you know? Just because look, for Final Fantasy 14 players, because I know some of you do play Final Fantasy 14. The fact that someone has cleared UCOB back in Stormblood should not stop you from going back and clearing UCOB now just to experience and enjoy the content, right? And the same goes with this game. The fact that a random Korean fuckhead swiped $50,000 to get crafted gear a bit earlier than you and cleared Sanctuary 3 weeks before you literally doesn't fucking matter. You're not an esports player that's getting paid to clear the content fast. You're just a dude playing a video game. And guess what? Because the loot is random, even though this guy cleared 3 weeks before you did, literally all you have to do is clear the content after him, walk up to the box, opening, get lucky and get the weapon, and you're gonna be ahead of this guy anyways. It literally doesn't matter. It just doesn't. Bro, there's more to it than this in life. You know, there's bigger problems in life than a random Korean dickhead swiping money to clear a dungeon 2 weeks before me. I genuinely I would not be able to give any less of a shit. And I think you should do the same. Now, if your guts tells you that you absolutely cannot play this game because of that, that's okay. More power to you. If you're able to find another game that you can enjoy more power to you. But I genuinely think that as players, we also need to like take a step back and be like, does this really matter? If the game is fun and I'm able to enjoy the content on patch, and the fact that people swipe for this shit is the reason why this game has been able to deliver content every week since the release of the game. Do I give a shit? That's just my opinion. Alright, let me catch up with chat now. How much attack do you have? I have I think 5600 in PvP and 5800 in PvE. I think that's what I have. If you come to PvP, it's a bigger deal, but again, you're just there to... yeah, exactly. And like, even with PvP, I would argue that the bigger problem in PvP right now directly correlate to TTK and class balance, more so than whaling. Oh, these people are retarded. I'm about to Alter 4. It's fine, take your time. Is there a chance to get it? Yeah. With Ennis King dissolving, it's a chance. If you're looking for heroic, yeah. Damn, I'm really behind on I'm really behind on chat. I'm sorry, guys. I just kind of went on a bit of a tangent here, so I'm sorry. You baited me into buying glasses. Worth it though, looks great. Are there glasses in the shop? I mean, good choice either way. I think glasses are sick. Okay, you know what was my #1 skin that I had on every character that I could on Iron 1? It was the Corundum, the Eternal Corundum glasses skin. I had that on all of my characters if I could get it. Streamer has a massive hog confirmed. Damn, I'm this far behind, holy. I mean, I do have a massive hog though. That is true. The speech with the music goes out. Yeah, that's a bit accidental. I know who swipes less than me is dog water, and I know who swipes more than me needs to touch grass. Exactly. That's the mentality. What did I walk into? Yeah, sorry for the TED talk. It's like this motivational video, YouTube legend. Yeah, I need to make a short out of this with like, you know, the black bars on the top and bottom, like with the edit. I don't know if it is true, but the FOMO in this game doesn't have its grade. Like in Lost Ark, you don't clear the HM raid in the first 2 weeks. You don't get the title. No title means harder to get into lobbies. This game does have title stuff for dungeons, but yeah, I mean, there's not really any of that. Obviously, we'll have to see as time goes by, right? But yeah, right now there's not. But yeah, bottom line is, if you're enjoying the game and you're having fun, whether it's in PvP or PvE, you don't have to give a shit about people paying money to clear shit sooner than you. Like, whatever. Especially if they keep doing what they've been doing with the content as of late, which is to make it basically available from day one, even to people that don't have necessarily like the best gear or anything. And in stuff like whatchamacallit, Transcendent Dungeon, making it so the only reward for doing harder mode is just to like get a little bit more mats to craft your card a bit faster, then yeah, it quite literally doesn't matter. I'm done, about to log in, smash my nuts in the fucking door. Yeah, sounds good. Leave some for me. Dude, it's funny because I'm not even looking at the screen. I'm just pressing button and the boss is already dead. Why is Elementalist like this? Why are people telling me that Elementalist has no PvE DPS, dude? Like, this is stupid. It took me 5 business days to kill this boss on Assassin when I was leveling. And now here we are. I pressed 4 buttons and it's dead. Better hurry. Namion just called me, said if Raiden doesn't log in, he's nothing glad. It's true. Genus? I already had full Genus when I leveled up my Assassin. When I did this on my Assassin, at least. Also, the only stats I have on my Genus are accuracy. So it would just be pet level, which I absolutely had finished on when I leveled my Assassin. He's gonna nerf Glad anyways, yeah. I mean, Overhead Slam has to go, but like in general, just the class needs to be reworked, honestly. And like, that's what I mean, right? Like, this game's biggest problem right now is the fact that they haven't been able to competently split between PvE and PvP, right? But now that they're finally splitting the damage formula between PvE and PvP, maybe they're gonna be able to differentiate stuff even further, which is the start of like PvP getting even better than how it's been getting better. Is that your 5th class? Yes, correct. A generous viewer donated Una specifically for me to level an Elementalist, so that's what I'm doing. Gladiator PvE rotation is basically the same as Assassin, but they don't have RNG to raise team to get that damage for 10 seconds. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna challenge that. I haven't played Gladiator yet, although I have looked at like Gladiator streaming, and they're literally holding down the button in PvE, which I don't think. I'm pretty sure Assassin pretty much uses the entire kit in PvE, right? Whereas I've literally seen Gladiator just hold down the button. Which is a bit silly. Yeah. And also keep in mind, right, when it comes to DPS checks and everything, right, in the game right now, we are experiencing the content by doing literally like 30-40% less damage than we normally would if we had acceptable ping. When you take into consideration that we are able to clear content, even though we are literally fucking griefing by having abysmal ping, then you realize that the DPS checks really aren't too bad right now. You know what I mean? I'm taking from a damage spread perspective. I don't use right click, I only do left and hard stab. I'm guessing you have, do you have like the rune engraving on like other abilities then to like maintain level 5 for more back attack damage? Is that what you do? How much time per day do you need to put into each ult to get value out of them? I do have a video on ults on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen it, but the bottom line is basically you put as much or as little time as you want into your ult. It's very flexible depending on what you want to do with them. And obviously if you put a bit more time into them, you get more out of them, but the bulk of how much you get out of them is on the low end, if that makes sense. So me personally, I'm pushing a bit more because I'm playing an unhealthy amount of this game. But someone who literally doesn't want to play ult at all can play their ult like per day, maybe 10 minutes per character to like get through your dungeons. And then an additional... let me think. Daily dungeon is 30 seconds, so you're basically spending 10 minutes. So 10 minutes per day for dungeons, and then an additional 10 minutes per week to do your pet dungeon, and like that's it. Yeah. If you want to be on the lowest end possible, and you will already massively profit from them. I'm online? Alright, let me log in then. I'll just conclude this quest and then I'll be right there. All three of my ults are like 1.8 and stuck in Vakron, but should push the Sanctuary on ults. I mean, especially now that they're basically giving you a full set of Gold Arcana, which was genuinely the biggest time sink when it comes to leveling an ult, right? So now that you can do that, I think it's worth. If you can get it into Sanctuary to do 1-2, then yeah, it's definitely a good supplement. Maybe not with all of your ults, but like 1 or 2, you know? Let me log in. I'll let you make the group like yesterday. I'm gonna stay privileged for a few days if that's okay with you. Yeah. Not on PvP right now? Not on PvP, okay. I'm better today, I hope that's the case. Well, I got sleep, also hello NS. I did get sleep, so that helps. I didn't sleep a massive amount, and I was very busy today once again, but you know, I'm managing. I'm managing. As I said, like I'm not quite out of the woods yet, but things should stabilize a bit in terms of like my schedule and stuff as the days go by. Now, the one thing that I'm a bit iffy on is when it comes to making the guide video for the new Transcendence dungeon, right? I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that for like another few days, and then by the time I'm able to do it, I don't know if people are even going to appreciate me doing it, so I don't know. I'll see. You guys can do one without me first, get on my ult to duty quest before reset. I kinda don't want to gamble on getting a shit DPS though, so how much time do you need, Sakura? Because like, if you need like 10 minutes, I'm just gonna log onto my SM, do a couple of quests by the time you're done. But I got a bit of sleep into me, and obviously I'm still dealing with you know, the aftershock of everything, but yeah, I'll manage. It's okay. Probably 10 minutes. Alright, let me just do one of these then. Like I'm not gonna be back to my 100. I'm not necessarily gonna be able to go like as hard for like a little while, but yeah. As I said on my initial announcement on my Discord, I'm not gonna disappear overnight, and I'm gonna continue to like put in the work. Yeah. So don't you guys worry about this. I just tuned in. What happened? Hello, Larry. I'm not gonna discuss the matter on stream, because at the end of the day, some people use streaming as an escape. So I don't think it's appropriate for me to do so on stream. If you want to know, if you haven't already, join my Discord and look at the announcement channel, like a ping I put a few days ago. Yeah, I think that's probably the better approach. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, I have to do regular. We have 3 fucking artifacts, and things happen while I was gone. All right. Hope you're okay. As I said, I'm managing. It was a rough first couple of days, but I'm I'm tougher than that. I'll manage. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Estupus. I guess we can just start as is, right? Yeah, I don't think it matters too much. Oh, there we go. New account, new character. Someone from chat, a very generous person, paid for an additional character slot for me to play Elementalist, so I'm obliging, basically. I don't know what happened. We were getting wrecked for a while, and yesterday we were hot 6 corridors. Well, there was a matching change, and basically, if you were stuck in a situation where the server you were matched against was absolutely demolishing your asshole, obviously they matched you against another server that was getting their shit pushed in, right? So for us, I think we got matched against a Care Bear server. Yeah, I think that's what happened, and I think that's probably what happened to most servers who are in the same situation as us. So basically, we're gonna have it easy for a while. Also, I think they said something about rifting being random now. Now, I haven't been able to rift this week yet for reasons that you will understand. Is that the case, or do you still rift against the current server you're getting matched against? Because that sounded a bit weird. Why don't you buy the Arcana Pass? I have. Although, maybe not on this character. You know what? Now that you mention it, I might not have bought the Arcana Pass on this character, because I think you need to be level 45 to buy it. Wait, let me do that, actually. Let me do that. 50% left lifesteal, reduce the amount of block from 3 to 1. After 5 hits. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, Spine. I think Gladiator is completely fine outside of Overhead. Like, genuinely, Overhead Slam is just the straw that broke the camel's back, you know what I mean? I think the rest of the class is okay. Although, obviously, the Invuln needs to go, but in the same way that the Cleric Invuln needs to go. Like, Invuln in general is just a bad game mechanic. Go buy 1.3 million Canyon to get level 45. I'll see. At the end of the day, if this can complete itself, I would rather it completing itself. Like I'm not pressed for my ults like progressing as fast as possible. But I mean, I appreciate the thought anyways. Saying that people do not want Glad to be able to play playable. I mean, it's just the thing that Gladiator is just constantly stuck in a state of like being either completely stupid or like underwhelming, right? So yeah. What strategy do you have on global release? 5-6 ults and farm downers for Kina, next buy PvP gear or the crafting gear? It's gonna depend a lot on like what happens by the time the game gets available, and also what version of the game we get in global. But assuming things are the same as they are right now, and we start with season 1, I would basically level my ults at the same time as I do my main, and then focus on hoarding resources to get crafted gear ASAP out of the way. Yeah. I would basically pretty much skip PvP outside of farming medals entirely for all of season 1. Making you all versus 550 Kalkana? Yeah. And again, just suggested would make the class actually worthless. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the class needs much, right? If there's anything non-related to Overhead Slam that I would personally like to see changed, it would be CC duration, but also if they change CC duration, they need to give you back Mockingbade functioning. Right? So it's a bit like when we talk about specific class balance, it's a bit deeper of a topic that would require like me to do another TED talk. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's also I don't even blame anyone for like necessarily wanting any specific stuff to be nerfed, because at the end of the day, it depends on your experience, it depends on the class you play, and also I think most people don't really realize that number one, you're playing with a lot less gear than the people you're fighting, and number two, you're playing with significantly higher ping than the people you're fighting. Like that's something that creates a very wide that widens the gap in a matter that is a lot more significant than I think a lot of people are giving it credit for. You know what I mean? Yeah. I should keep this for the stagger check actually. Yeah. I haven't seen this motherfucker move in a while. He just kind of dies when I run up, you know. Why is Dropner Cave in the BS and not Beluslan? I mean, you don't know. Maybe we're gonna get Dropner Cave in Beluslan as well. As I told you, I'm pretty sure the Karma... I'm pretty sure they're gonna have like a bunch of different versions of the Karma over time, and then maybe eventually someday they will release a fight that has like all of the different versions of the Karma. You know what I mean? I mean, I think this kills, and it doesn't. On the stage, fine. I'm legit fighting people under 3 ping. I get it, man. Yeah. Like, and that's the grain of soul that I keep trying to bring whenever I'm fighting people. It's like I'm severely undergeared compared to the people I'm fighting, and I have 15 times the ping of these people, if not more for some of them, right? So you can't really look at this and have a clear picture of balance just looking at this in a vacuum. You know what I mean? And the fact that I'm already able to kill capped gear people that have 10 ping is already nothing short of a miracle, you know? Conversation, yeah. What ults do you pick? Who is the best and who is the worst? Mika, I do have a video on my... do I not have the sub anymore? Oh, I don't have the sub anymore. Okay, well. I have a video on my YouTube channel that goes over everything related to alts. But just to give a quick answer to your question right now, Elementalist, Chanter are the two most accessible alts, in my opinion. Elementalist does a lot of damage and clears the story very easily. And it's also like, honestly, genuinely just a good fucking DPS. And then, I have to go there. And then Chanter gets through the story fairly easily, not as easily, but like it's pretty harmless. And at endgame, because of all of the buffs that you provide, if you full spec for buff, people will take you into dungeon without looking at your gear too much. So it makes farming very easy. But yeah, I would recommend you to watch my my video on alts. Like, I need to make space. There we go. Go max level Arcana Pass to a power. As I said, I'm just gonna let it like automatically level up. I'm not really looking to spend money on my ult, you know what I mean? Thanks, yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm gonna log back into my main. I'm assuming that you guys are ready and willing. I'm still, you know, I'm fairly tired still, so I don't necessarily know that I'm gonna go full length with this stream, but I'll fuck around for a couple of runs. Yeah, I will. Wait, I need to buy the sub. Yeah, let me do that right now. There we go. Alright. Let me go into the funny haha. Menu. Alright, special Shugo membership, yes. Yes, Daddy and Csoft, I will give you all of my money. 3.6 almost, yeah. Alright, let me do that. I have a ranger, 2.6k gear score, SN 2000 Sokta, Taiwan. I'm looking for best character for global. I can't decide. I mean, look, man. At the end of the day, this is basically what I just said, right? In that, and let me try PayPal again for this. It's the same as I said, which is the game is not going to be out in global for like another 6 months, and within the 3 months of this game being out in Korea and Taiwan, it has already very severely changed, which means that water under the bridge, you know, like there's going to be, the game is going to be completely different by the time it reaches us. So I would say don't start worrying about this until like, let's say a month before global comes out, right? I agree. Yes. Sure. Take all of my life possession and Csoft. Video title is wrong. There is a no swiping here. Well, I don't swipe for gear, but I do pay the sub. Look, at the end of the day, there's a reason why I put no swiping instead of free to play in the title, because I feel like putting free to play as a sub only player in the title is a bit dishonest. Also, where the fuck is my phone? Alright, give me a second. And but at the same time, putting Putting sub-only player here in the title also looks like shit. I think no swiping is like the good in between. Right. Hopefully it actually accepts PayPal this time, because for some reason it didn't last time, so. Can double cube in Sanctuary by subscription? Yes, the dispatch did that, although I haven't done Sanctuary this week yet because I've been busy elsewhere, so I can't confirm, but okay, well, it actually worked. Yes. But allegedly that's how it is, yes. So you're able to open 4 cubes a week, basically. If you pay with phone, you're technically not swiping as no card involved directly. True. I'm paying on PayPal, so you know, it's... Some swiping just happened. We heard it. Streamer. We know what you are. Activate. There we go. Here comes the subscription. Alright, there we go. I mean, thankfully I realized it on my ult before I tried opening shit on my main, you know? God forbid I do content for no reason. Okay. Yeah. Dribble the system, yeah. So Sakurai and Raiden, are you guys gaming? I'm ready? Alright. Sakurai isn't online, but maybe he's in like an old. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just invite me when you're good to go. And yeah, I'm 3.6 on my PvE right now. My PvP is not too far behind. Like my PvP is 3428. So yeah. Oh wait, I don't think I've equipped the Yorkana. Yeah, I haven't. Okay. Yeah, so my PvP is actually 3.5. So I actually have to update the stream title. Look at that. I'm underselling myself. Isn't that crazy? Let me grab the funny guy. Which one of you wants to deal with I mean, I guess I'll give a lead to Sakura, because you can actually understand and speak with those people. Can you do PvE content with PvP gear? No, you can't. There's a nerf applied on PvP gear and PvE. Like, you see this set effect? It buffs your PvE damage in the Abyss, but nerfs it everywhere else. So if you're in full PvP gear and PvE, you have minus 20% PvE damage. So yeah, you can wear a couple of pieces and it won't nerf your damage. But yeah, you kind of owe it to yourself to... At the bare minimum, get crafted accessories, weapon and guard, and then on the armor side you can have a mix of like PvP gear, dungeon gear, stuff like that. That's bad for me? Yeah, that was bad for all of us at the beginning of Season 2, but, you know, all things considered, because I basically made this entire set from scratch at the beginning of Season 2. Prep? Oh yeah, sorry. Gaming. Thankfully you can do PvP with PvE gear. I mean, obviously it's going to be less effective than with PvP gear, right? But like, let's say if you're just zerging or doing ZVZ and stuff like that, then yeah, you're probably fine. Like if you're not doing arena and more serious solo PvP, then yeah, you can kind of manage, right? I'm happy with my progress now. 3.2k gear score with dungeon gear. Already have new Arcana. New swiping, no subs at all. Yeah. And like that's one of the nice. I genuinely like what they did with the new Arcana dungeon. The fact that you have access to every level from the get-go, and the only thing that changes when it comes to the levels is just the fact that you farm the mats a bit faster. Like I think that's really like player friendly in my opinion, and I hope they keep doing they keep doing it like this, because I think that's the best in between, and that's the best way to make PvE not be pay to win. Basically, obviously people that get crafted orange gear will have an advantage, but people who are sub only are gonna be able to do like the second to last level at the bare minimum, and the people who are completely free to play will be able to do like the first 2 levels and just keep up basically like in the same fashion. So I think this is a great step in the right direction when it comes to Transcendence and dungeons in general. I still don't have PvP accessories. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, right, you could make the argument that the ping really helps make up for that difference, right? Like, for me, with my ping, I don't necessarily think that I could be doing that, is basically what I mean. But I guess it also depends on the level of accessories that you have, right? Did I get killed by the star thing? I guess I did. Or maybe I ran on the wrong direction. Honestly, I wasn't looking at the screen. So. Fuck you, targeting boss, yeah. I mean, you know, knowing them, I have strong hopes that they will fix that with a patch. I mean, it's like play your own phase, enjoy the game, enjoy the content that they offer. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know if you were here when I was having my my TED talk earlier, but that's exactly what I was saying. Just fucking have fun with the game, because this is a fun game with a lot of things to do. And what other players are doing should not like handicap your fun of the game, you know what I mean? Like, just have fun. Like the fact that the game can even be enjoyed fully free to play, right? With no sub, nothing, no nothing. Like there's no restriction, there's nothing outside of like just having slow progression. Is kind of crazy to me. I don't think people are giving that enough credit. Like, obviously, you're not as competitive, and like, really sweaty PvP is not gonna be as accessible to you, obviously, right? But, damn, you're still able to enjoy a whole ass fucking game for absolutely fucking nothing. And basically, you're just doing like an Iron Man, right? Which in itself is its own like fun challenge. The fuck is he dying to? I'm not sure, because I actually tried to pay attention for a second and he just kind of passed away. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's dying to the star AoE or something. Or maybe he was not moving on the circle here along this. Dude, he died again. You know what? Whatever. I don't. This is a fake Templar. Bro is dying to the wind. But yeah, like, entirely skipping this game or like stopping yourself from ever interacting with this game just because there are avenues to swipe for some stuff, even though the entire game is enjoyable, both free to play and sub only, in like a very satisfying manner, is like crazy to me. That's exactly the problem I have with the people who are like really extremist on this on this side of the discussion, because it's like you are literally nerfing yourself out of a free experience in a very competent game because of an agenda that nobody, because of like some form of moral superiority, you know, like some social media cookie points. Like, you're the moron here, you know. How come you wouldn't focus on PvP first season on global? Because PvP progression is something that you can catch up on at any point. The only thing that you need to keep up with is out of season AP stuff and medals. As long as you keep up with both of these, it doesn't matter if you actually do PvP, you can fully catch up with it. Whereas for the first season of global, I basically want to focus on getting a bunch of resources and making crafted gear while it's cheap as fuck at the beginning, because everyone's gonna be new and it's gonna be like selling mats for cheap and stuff, right? And that stuff, if you get an early advantage, is gonna carry over a lot of weight over time. You know what I mean? Whereas the more you wait to make your crafted gear and all of that, the more expensive and time consuming it's gonna be to make. I'm playing free to play. Only play Philippine. This game is really good. I'm really enjoying playing. Yeah, great. And you know what? More power to you. Honestly, look, the only reason why I am investing money in this game, right, for the sub, is because I'm a huge Iron 1 simp, and also I'm trying to do like content creation in this game. But as a regular ass fucking person, just trying to like enjoy the game and like get a quote-unquote early access with the Taiwan and Korean version until global comes out, bro, you're absolutely right to be playing this free to play, right? You know what I mean? Because you can still experience the game. You'll have the experience for global and you're not paying shit. So yeah, honestly, good. Chat, he's about to do the mechanic. Oh well, I already did it. I'm just pressing invul. That's how I do the mechanic now. Yeah, we already cleared everything. The way I do the mechanic is by not doing the mechanic, because if you've paid attention in schools, mechanics are for cars. Let me open this just in case. Well, and playing free to play sounds like its own. It sounds like its own little fun thing. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like an Iron Man. You know, it's like a solo self-found type of situation, right? It's pretty fun, I think. It's its own like adventure, basically. Which I think that's neat. I am a mechanic. I am not just for cars. Am I allowed to do DPS now? Thank you. It's kind of terrible when he does that against the wall, because like as a melee it's so easy to get caught by surprise, right? Play for knowledge, yeah, exactly. And by the time this game comes to global, you're gonna have the same tools as us, except you're gonna be like a few $100 richer. So, you know what? Good for you. You love to see a smart business decision in this day and age from a KMMO player of all people. And like, yeah, maybe you'll be a bit behind on like the new Sanctuary, for example, but like, I think that's okay. I think that's fine, right? I got hit by this. We just pull one of those funny tricks. Okay, so there is a visual tell for when he's about to do that. I hate the fact that you can't perfect block that. Oh my god. So far away. My DPS must be absolutely fucking tragic right now. I'm not gonna lie. My uptime was down horrendous this run. We're doing a long ass fucking glide. That is the strat. Alright, well, I didn't press absolution in time, so fuck me, I suppose. Yeah. The Yongshu put a ghost where you are? Yes. And then you have to reconvene with the ghost. So the further away you are, the harder you get punished, basically. And because he does it right after a spin, then yeah, that's the mechanic. For gear score cap in dungeons, 2200 high temple, and how about 2600 gear score? Yeah, I mean that's usually why you just make your own groups for this. EVH. Spin is so stupid you cannot outrun, makes no sense. Yeah. I mean, you just have to like basically dodge out of it, right? But sometimes it's a bit... If he's really close to the wall and he starts spinning towards the wall, because I think he spins on the direction of the tank, I assume, right? I assume that's how this mechanic works. If the tank is like towards the outside, then it's pretty easy to get caught against the wall with the spin. Which kinda chugs. Real for real. Spin mag, do you spin? You mean the donut one? Yeah, you can... Basically, you can only run as fast as it if you are not fighting at the same time. Which, you know. The one thing that sucks is the like sudden, like the completely random direction. Like, especially with ping, it makes this mechanic like really fucking scary. He was nearly out DPSing me despite being a piece of cardboard and dying 55 times. That's kind of crazy. Because his gear was not even like anything special, I don't think, right? Like he just had like baseline gold crafted gear, as far as I know. Kicked the gladiator. But then again, maybe he was he was helping his DPS out with a little bit of the secret sauce, if you know what I mean. No reason to get a gladiator over a Templar. In PvE, yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, that's just PvE meta though, like, especially when it comes to more DPS oriented classes, like there's usually clear winners. Yeah, I mean, I know that. I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? Is as long as there's even the slightest, like, the slightest imbalance, there's just a clear winner, right? It's either champion or Templar, or else we'll die a lot. Yeah, I mean, we need the extra tolerance for sure. Yeah. So, given. 3.8 Chanta. I see. Interesting. This guy is doing more DPS than me. I can already tell. Yeah, I mean, and again, as I said, I do believe a lot of those problems stem from the fact that they're trying to balance both PvE and PvP with the exact same fucking skills. You know what I mean? Like Iron 1, it was easier because a lot of your PvE damage was just from like auto attacks and stuff like that, and then you had like 12 stigma slots for specs, right? And a lot of classes had to entirely switch their spec between PvE and PvP, right? So it allowed for them to make more focused skills for the both, right? Dude, I'm gonna be honest, man. If they want to keep this game as a game with 12 visible buttons, obviously there's more with like damn, I didn't even try to jump that. Crazy. Obviously there's more like non-visible buttons and everything, right? But if they want to keep the game the way it is right now, they need a clear distinction between PvE and PvP in like every single step of the way, you know? Like both in terms of the skills, in terms of the damage calc, in terms of the tooltips. I like gliding in the completely opposite direction because of the combat mode. I love that. What class will we play on global? I don't know how time everything can change. I mean, unfortunately, my answer to you on that question is gonna be the same as the other questions, because that's genuinely... Dude, I need to look at the... it's genuinely the way I feel. It's gonna depend a lot on what happens with the game by the time it reaches global, and so it's gonna depend on that, and it's also gonna depend on what my plans will be on global, which I'm still not completely sure, right? Because if I continue to mostly play solo, then I'll just play whatever class feels the best for this playstyle, and if I do more like pre-made static play, I'm just gonna play whatever the group that I'm playing with needs, because I don't really feel strongly one way or another about any specific class. I'm happy with Cleric, honestly. I'm happy with Cleric. So we'll see. And you know, I mean, if I still do like, and I mean I should, right? But you never know what can happen in life. But if I still do content creation and streaming and all of that, there's also going to be a side of what my viewers also want me to do, right? Like if I'm completely undecided and I need like something to push me one way or another, then my viewers are going to be the deciding factor, basically, right? Yeah. Like, let's say if I basically have no decisions and people want me to keep playing Cleric because that's what they're used to, and they want me to keep making like healer dedicated content and stuff like that, then yeah, sure, why not? I'm not fundamentally opposed to it, and like I am able to experience different classes by just playing ults anyways, so. PvP separate damage is going to give a lot of room to make changes. Yeah, exactly. And I just hope they push it like an extra mile, you know, with like skills doing completely different things in both PvE and PvP. Like, they can very easily make a skill be a nuke in PvE, but then be a utility skill in PvP, right? They can do stuff like that at the end of the day, you know? Like, they have already shown that on the fly, they are able to make a skill dynamically adapt what it does, with the grab skills having different animation and effect if you're targeting something that is CC immune, you know, with like Shadowfall and Disorienting Blow, right? Like, these skills literally have a different animation and effect if you're hitting a boss instead of a regular mob. So they can do stuff like that. I like healers in Throne and Iron 2. I'm doing something missing. I much prefer healers in Iron 2, if I'm gonna be honest. Because one of the main gripe I had with healers in Throne is that, bro, when you were by yourself, you were not able to do shit. You could not even kill a single monster. You know? Like, you needed to make a completely different build, which wouldn't work on a game like Iron 2 because it's not like you can change weapon on the fly, right? So I genuinely like the way Cleric is designed in this game. I really like that you do a bit of everything. Would be nice to be able to change between staff and mace like in Iron 1, having to use mace and play Cleric. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a more... I did appreciate the like gear swap and the weapon swap aspect of Iron 1 for sure, but the fact that they do this also allows them to like make classes that are more like stylistically focused on the weapon they're using, you know what I mean? And then it also frees up weapons for like future classes. Like for example, the fact that Gladiator uses a greatsword in this game means that they're going to be able to make a class that has that is a dedicated spear class that makes more sense with a spear. So, you know, I think that's okay. Gameplay wise, they can make skills that function in a similar fashion to the way they would work if you had to switch a weapon, you know? Like, we don't... From a gameplay perspective, we don't need to, like, actually physically switch weapon, is basically what I'm saying. So I think trying to pick a main for global based off class today's performance, yeah. Everything we experience in the game right now is bonus, you know? Basically. Like, we are experiencing a game in a completely different state than how it's gonna be in global. Which is fun in its own way, right? Because when global comes and the game is gonna be like this, we're gonna be able to hit players with the, well, back in my days, or like it was harder back in X, you know, and that's the fun part as well. To BM the new players. I wish Mace and Shield was separate, just so I could use Mace and Shield skins from separate set. Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. I see exactly what you mean in that sense, and I do agree on that front. Yeah, with the combined weapon, yeah. I think Final Fantasy XIV has it right in that sense, because combined weapon like Sword and Shield for Paladin, when you obtain them, you obtain both at the same time, but they are still separate items. So you can like mix and match for like different stats, and as well as... Also, I didn't see when you need to kill mobs, easy. Let me get there. You can mix and match for different set effects, and you can also... mix and match the skins, right? I think that would be nice. And you know what? That is something that I could see them change in the future. At least for on the skin side. I like in Throne that I have 3 or 4 builds, one for low level dungeon, high level. Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean, yeah. I mean, it's... This game to this extent has a bit of that as well. Although... Obviously it's a bit more rigid because you're more committed into like a singular type of build. But I just don't think they are the same. I just think these two games are trying to do very different things. Although I will say that obviously I did enjoy in Iron 1 the whole shtick about set swapping and stuff like that as well. That is something that I'm a bit of a sucker for. But also have to recognize that for the sake of accessibility and consistency, it's obviously better for classes to be a bit stiffer, right? Like the way they are. But yeah, I understand that sentiment for sure. Although I will say that on Throne it was perhaps a bit obnoxious at times that you needed to make like 50 different builds to different content, you know what I mean? Especially with certain classes having a bigger disadvantage more so than others, because like some classes could do everything with a single build, you know. Like think about classes like Liberator, especially early on. Like Liberator could play everything with the same build. I never played Iron 1. I'm a Lineage 2 veteran. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you play Throne, then yeah, that makes sense, since Throne is basically kind of like Lineage in a lot of the way it's developed. I'm kind of glad that Iron 2 so far doesn't seem to have a million sets you had in Iron 1. Cleric with 5 different sets. PvP and more if you played both DPS and heal spec. Yeah. And like again, as I said personally, I'm a sucker for that type of stuff. Like I actually like it, but I also understand why it's not healthy for the game. So I'm fine with it being the way it is. Yeah. I enjoyed the differences, but I won't have time to grind them out. Like I didn't play in one. Yeah, 100%. Like, that's what I mean by accessibility, right? Both in terms of like the amount of time it took you to like obviously farm the set in itself, but also the amount of time it took you to like make the set actually come online. You know what I mean? Like, because if you make a magic resist set, you don't need just 2 pieces of MR, right? You need all 5 with all of the sockets, with the enchanting, with everything, right? So yeah. And that obviously indirectly made the game more pay to win, because obviously you had to do all of those things for the set to come online, right? Oh my god, dude. But I do hope there's gonna be a little bit of that, right? Especially as time goes by, I think there's going to be more and more people at the bare minimum that will swap between extendable and non-extendable on the fly in PvP and stuff like that. Like, I think that is definitely going to be something that people will do. Oh my god, dude. In this game, yeah, but yeah. And I think there is potential for set swapping in this game, and like you do have to keep in mind that there is a keybind to switch between sets. But the main thing stopping people from doing it right now is Genius Insights. Because it's difficult to make a set of gear function without also having the Genius Insights directly work with the set itself, right? So if one day they give us like multiple presets of Genius Insights, then I can 100% tell you that this game is gonna be the exact same as Iron wanted when it comes to like the sets, stuff like that. Like that's the last line of defense that is stopping us from like going as hard as Iron One in terms of the sets. But we'll see. Again, the game is in its infancy, right? So there is certainly a lot that will probably evolve. But even by the time it just reaches global, and even when the game reaches global, because you do have to keep in mind, right? If we look at Throne and Liberty, right? The game obviously, between the moment it released in Korea and the time it came out in I hate this. Yeah. Between the time it released in Korea and by the time it reached global, obviously the game was a completely different beast. But when the game reached global, because it's a completely different audience with completely different like asks and stuff like that, and obviously NCSoft was modeling the game around what the global players were saying a lot. The game will change even further when it actually hits global and global players start talking about stuff, right? So that's why don't be too worried if there's any specific part of the game that you don't like right now, because when the game reaches global and they start updating the game based on like global feedback as well, yeah, things are gonna change and fast. With having no difference between magic and DPS, there's slightly less set that you'll need. I mean, it's just the bottom line, right? It's basically gonna be, you're gonna have a set for, you're gonna have a defensive set, you're gonna have an offensive set, and then you're gonna have a PvE set, you know what I mean? Like at the bare minimum, that's the type of stuff that we would head into, right? You would have said that are like fully focused into defense, like stacking regen, endurance, evasion, constitution, like all at the same time. And that's the only thing they do. With also like the mana stones only having like HP and defense and stuff like that, right? And then you have the set that are like full on stacking like damage boost and like full sending attack and crit in the mana stones. And then you have sets that would be like focused on oh, I'm getting hit by that. You would have sets that would be focused on accuracy, like purely hard focus accuracy. You know, like this type of stuff, I guess. Because right now everyone is running like hybrid sets. Everyone is running a set that has a bit of defense, a bit of offense, a bit of accuracy. And obviously all of these are like less efficient than they would be if you were able to actually full on commit. And especially if we would be able to get like multiple sets of Genius Insights, then obviously you would be able to, on your defensive set, full on stack evasion on the free slots and then stack endurance and regen on the special slots, right? And for accuracy, you would be able to stack accuracy and then and so on and so forth, right? So there is potential in this game, but the main thing stopping people from doing it is the Genius Insight. Yeah. Will be interesting to see how that develops. Yeah. It's entirely gonna hinge on what they do with the Genius Insight system. You know what I mean? Because there's multiple things they could do to allow for this to happen, basically. Okay, we'll see. It is a game with the potential to be as deep as Iron 1. It's just that they have to iron out a bunch of stuff, you know? So yeah. Like I think like a lot of people when they look at this game, especially people who are like Iron 1 Giga fan, and they really wanted this game to be literally Iron 1 with Unreal Engine 5 skin, right? And I think a lot of people dismissed this game, right? Immediately, because it wasn't immediately that, and it's trying to do something very different. But I do think genuinely, when you look at this game and you understand all of its intricacies and what it can be, I think it's a bit disingenuous to like throw away the baby with the bathwater, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to take a step back and understand what's going on here. And they've certainly been making the game evolve in a very, very positive light. Yes, core is... I'm not trying to understand what you said. Okay. I just wanted Iron 1 but more accessible and better PvE, which is kind of what Iron 2 is right now, right? Like, Iron 2 is basically a very streamlined, very, very streamlined Iron 1 with PvE that is far and beyond better. It's just that I think we all wish that a couple of things would get ironed out a bit better, just like, you know, scratch the itch a bit better. Which, you know, let them cook. Let them cook. Like, dude, the way things are right now compared to how they were at the very beginning of the game, I don't know that if people realize. Like, when I have people that straight up tell me that, oh, PvP hasn't changed, it's still the same as the beginning of the game, is dog shit, I'm like, dude. Is the PvP the best it could be right now? No, it still has a bunch of problems, but it is absolutely incomparable to how it was at the beginning of the game. Like, I don't think people realize how many insane changes have happened to PvP in this game from the beginning. It's not the same game. I'm not scared to say it. it is straight up not even the same game. You know? I think Glad in PvE is too strong. Alright. Gearscore was killing that game. I think Gearscore mattered more at the beginning. I think like actual stats are mattering more nowadays. Although I will say that Gearscore have like it's kind of meaningless right now. Like that's the main problem. It doesn't actually tell you what the actual power of someone is, but they have mentioned that they're gonna be changing the way Gearscore is calculated in the game to be more accurate, right? So yeah. We'll see how they do it. I think the only thing I missed from Iron 1 is single target healing, but I also don't think single target will fit in the spirit of the game. Yeah, I mean, personally, I like it. I didn't see that this guy was ahead of me. I like the way healing in this game. Yeah. Like, I understand if you're more of a purist healer, like a World of Warcraft, like whack-a-mole player and stuff like that, right? Like, I understand that it's a very different way to do it, but I think it's both more approachable and less clunky and more fun in general. Now, I do think that the fact that it's entirely no targeting based does limit some of the stuff they can do with like target selection. Namely, one specific thing that they can't really do with the way it is right now is specific buff that you place on one guy. And they haven't really been doing that in this game, specifically because of that. And in cases where... I'm just gonna help this guy then. In cases where there is a single target buff, like Salvation for example, it doesn't feel the best it could be, because it just selects the lowest health player, when sometimes maybe you would want to be a bit more strategic with that. So in that sense, I do understand that. Yeah, it would be better to be able to actually select your target. 100% the first season I was hesitant on whether I would end up playing it. Today's version, I would play the shit out of it and still got 6 months to cook. Yes, that's pretty much what it is, right? Like, again, I'm talking from the perspective of someone that I think it would be hard pressed to find someone that has a better, more nuanced opinion about PvP in Iron 1. Like, I'm probably within some of the people that have the biggest amount of knowledge of like Iron 1's PvP, and in terms of like how good I was at the game. And I can see the potential in Iron 2, and I can also understand that the game has improved dramatically since the beginning. It's almost funny how much not the same game it is, you know? And that's not to say that the game doesn't still need a bunch of changes to be the best it could be, but oh my god. If you genuinely think the PvP right now is in the same state as the beginning of the game, you are genuinely the biggest moron I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, dude, it's not even the same game. It's not even in the same universe, you know? And it's only been 3 months. I'm 2600 gear score, do less damage. Oh my god, I'm not. There we go. Nah, okay. I was reading chat, I didn't see the mechanic was happening. Well, I guess we're winning this. 2600 gear score, do less damage, 200 gold score with a good stat from gear. In PvE, you mean? There's a threshold in PvE. Gear score obviously does help. Obviously, like gear score is something that is taken into consideration, right? But pass and stats honestly matter more, I would say, within reason, right? Within reason, obviously. But like, let's say like you're doing this instance, right? And this instance is I'm just gonna do that. This instance is like what, 3200, right? So let's say you have a, I don't know, 3.5k really well adjusted assassin, right? Against a... let me see. I'm trying to think of like another DPS class. I mean, I guess a gladiator. Versus like a 3.7k like full horn dragon gladiator. That doesn't have the smite genus, right? Doesn't have smite in general, like maybe lacks a few stats and so on and so forth. The assassin is doing more damage every day of the week, right? So, you know, I do think that gear score should not have a an impact when it comes to like actual result and like actual damage and so on and so forth, but I wouldn't say that it's the thing that matters the most, you know? Like, I've genuinely seen people with 3k gear score doing like fucking drop near cave. Like, I'm talking about the eye level 1000 drop near cave. I've seen 3k ranges with just fucking trash gear and just like bad rotations and everything do less damage than like 2k assassins and elementalists. I'm gonna die again. Yeah, dude, I need to look at the screen. Then 2k like assassin and elementalist with good stats and playing the game properly, you know? So yeah, do of that what you will, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, we can firm handshake on the fact that gear score should not have any impact on the math behind damage taken and damage dealt. But you know, I wouldn't say it's like I wouldn't necessarily say it's like as oppressive as you're saying it is, though. Sorry, no, it's okay. It's me, dude. I'm to blame. I'm the one to blame for my mistakes. Should be docking in. You done, Sakura? Fall asleep? Okay, that's fine. No worries. Thanks for the few runs. Guess we have a few marched and board gumbers. Apps. Was running a hard mode early and someone complained to me saying he did 5 times more damage than me. Damn. Gamble 42 got 2. Well, let me check. We always gamble, by the way. Well, I think I fared a little bit better. Download the DPS meter and wow, I think I should quit. I mean, I'm assuming you're playing with high ping, right? Just like the rest of us. Dude, ping is I mean, I don't think there's any better way to say it, but ping is fucking us in the ass. 100% it is. It is what it is, you know? Like, it does, you know, we play this game with the expectations of stuff like that, right? So it is what it is, but yeah, it is making quite a large difference. What do you think about the boards? It feels like it's going to be really hard for new players to get into a few, like 15 different boards. I think they need to stop releasing these boards. I don't think we need more. I think these 4 are fine. I think the IL board is ultimately okay because you're getting a lot of them. I think the Asphalt board needs more sources. We should be getting Asphalt board fragments from battlegrounds and arenas. And I'm confused by the Marchton board, but at least it's not pay to win, so... Okay, I guess. Whatever. That's my opinion right now. As long as the ping dot shit, I feel like I get slower and slower every patch. I think that might be the dementia settling it, but that's fine. We are all getting old, so... You know, it'd be like that. Saw a stream of a Taiwan streamer streaming Cleric gameplay the other day. I thought I was looking at the null game with how fast and smooth the game was. Yeah. I mean, we can't even like weave, you know what I mean? Like, we can't even like weave in a satisfying manner. Like, weaving as a Cleric with 200 ping actually makes you lose DPS. And then obviously your rate of fire is like basically halved. Marcheton just feels like RL 2.0. Well, not quite, right? Because Marcheton is like as relevant for PvE as it is PvP. But this board is basically just a gap maker between new and old players, which I don't know if I agree with. But I guess it is, at least it's a long-term progression system that isn't tied to pay to win any way, shape or form. That just motivates you to keep running Transcendence even after you have your cards. So in that sense, I'm not upset at it. I'm just confused that it came out now, you know? At this point, I might as well get some of them Chinese skills programs so I can be on an even playing field at least. I mean, that's a bit of a slippery slope though. I think we just take the L until global, you know what I mean? Like, again, this is entirely our fault. Like, we are playing on a foreign server. We came in knowing that the ping would be like this. But at least the game is still fun, enjoyable, and playable with this ping. So I think we should already be happy to be able to do as much as we are doing with this ping. I have 17 points right now, and I would have 25 if I didn't gamble. Yes, but gambling is not about... It's not about making the biggest amount of progress, you know? Gambling is about the very small dopamine rush when you press the button, you know? That's what it's all about. 100% needs more sources for Asphalt. My guess is there's no HOP and don't want to change it to give Whales value. I mean, there is a chance that they just want to leave it. They want to leave it like a quote-unquote soft pay-to-win mechanic for PvP. It's possible. I still think that there's a lot of the PvP game modes that genuinely hold zero value right now, and that no one are running. Like, no one is running Battlefields, for example, right? And if they just went and added Asphaltable fragments as like capped weekly rewards in the same fashion they are doing RL fragments into Ascension Trial and raids, I genuinely think this would get the entire fucking player base running these. Same with for Arena, you know? If they add DK to Arena and they add the limited like rewards that you get per week, they added Asphaltable fragments, maybe a few PvP mana stones, you know? A lot more people would engage with this content, which in turn would make the content more fun. So, you know, just some food for thought. Maybe later, right? Man acts like gambling addicts are addicted to winning. Yeah, it's all about the thrill of the gamble, baby. Hell yeah, that is exactly what it's all about. Let me look if this has some room. Hey, since I'm living in Vietnam right now, give me a good ping. 80 ms to 100 ms at most. Well, I wouldn't call that good ping. It's better than what we have, but I wouldn't call that good ping. A lot of the people we are playing against, well, that's not happening. A lot of the people we are playing against in this game right now have like 10 ping, which does make a bit of a stark difference. I will say. Let me check my ults, like my other ults, like how I'm doing on energy. I don't want to overcap, so I might have to. I have to do a bit of that at some point. Yeah, see, I'm already quite high. I'm already quite high. I would suck a fat cock for 70 ms. 40. Yeah, 40 would be my threshold for the whole like dick and bull situation. I think 40 would feel great. What do I have on this? 400 as well. Alright. Yeah, we might have an all day ahead of us. Yeah, I mean, I did say that tomorrow's Saturday, and I should be able to just like settle in tomorrow, so I might just do a Sanctuary plus Ults stream tomorrow. I do also need to do PvP on my main. I need to do rifting for the gold medals, so I think, yeah, tomorrow is gonna be Sanctuary mixed with dungeons, and then rift when the rifts are open. I think that's what's gonna happen tomorrow. Yeah. Just catch up on like stuff a little bit. I say 70 because the only time I've played an online game with actual low ping was League of Legends for like 3 weeks before they moved the servers. Yeah, I mean, I guess like Iron 1, the majority of Iron 1 I played was around 40 ping and felt fine. So that's why that's my threshold, I guess. Yeah. I want to do this on stream. Okay, question. Do you guys give a shit if I do sealed dungeons and green quest on stream, or would you rather I do it like off stream on my free time, like later? Because like this character is not like urgent. So I mean, I guess I do. How long do we have for this? 3/25/2026. So it's in 1 month. So I have 1 month to do this, I guess. When I stream asking his viewers for permission, I mean, I understand that it's not the most engaging content, and I just like I guess I have like higher standards for content, you know what I mean? So if you guys agree that it's boring as dicks, then I can just do this off stream while watching YouTube or something, you know? More brain power for just chatting stream. I mean, if you guys want to talk about stuff, we can. I'm about to go run for 30 minutes, so you're going to have more fun than I will. Well. You'll stream do whatever you want? Yeah, sure. I guess we'll do this for a little bit. I'm not gonna like... I'm probably not gonna be streaming for like significantly more longer anyways, because like, as I said, I'm still pretty exhausted, right? It's just better than how it was yesterday, basically. I'm here to chat and to listen to your character scream. You're really going on with that bit, huh? Just playing any other characters. I'm also doing duty and quest on my 3 ults. Yeah, fair enough. As long as you guys don't mind, I will be doing a little bit of this then. Yeah. I mean, this way you guys can also relate to me a bit. You see that I'm a guy of the people, you know? I don't swipe. I'm an honest alt worker to get my hard-earned PvP gear, you know? And this is definite proof of that. Helps people choose for the first character on Global to see love and gameplay type stuff? Yeah, I mean, maybe. I will say that Elementalist has felt really fucking chill. It's genuinely been the most like relaxing leveling experience out of all of them so far. It's not that I enjoy watching you die. I don't know why I think that scream's so funny. I see. Well, it was a complete accident that I picked that, but I suppose so. I don't even know what the other ones sound like. I'm gonna be honest. Just want you to eventually PvP on Elementalist and watch the outplays. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, chat. If you want to see me PvP on this character, you're gonna have to donate more than 10 bucks. Because yeah, I'm stuck investing resources into my main for another 56 business years. Yeah. Anything that I do on this character and any other character will not exceed PvE. Yeah. Will be vindication for all the people that cry about Elementalist being weak. I mean, I see the vision, dude. Like, I've been looking at Elementalist and like, I understand some of the complaints, and there's definitely a lot of things that I would change already. But man, when you look at the kit, you know, when you look at the kit, you're like, This class has a lot of like fucking potential, you know? Like this class, you know? This class has infinite amount of sex. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I do think that even if the class was to stay the exact same way it is right now, I think this class will benefit a lot from the gameplay slowing down a bit and the TTK getting a lot longer. Like that's the feeling I'm getting so far. If the class is allowed to cook more during PvP encounters and, like, you know, not die when it gets caught and has time to, like, use its kit to its full potential, I think this class would benefit a ton from that. You know what I mean? This class would benefit a lot from like longer fights, I guess. Do you want to try playing my assassin? Nah, not really. I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm already kind of pressed for time, you know what I mean? So if I play on anything, I want it to be my own character and, like, for my own progression, you know? Classical swipe bagger. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm just being genuinely honest, right? It's just basically don't expect me to do PvP on any class other than Cleric, because the way I'm spending my resources, like, I'm hard pressed. So yeah, I will be doing PvE though, and, like, if you guys really want me to, I may push this character up to, like, Sanctuary and stuff like that. Did you ever play SM in Iron 1? I played every class in Iron 1. SM in Iron 1 goated, yeah. I do like the very intricate game mechanics that most people just kind of glossed over. Like, SM in Iron 1 was at its most fun when played without using the fear button. Like, genuinely, SM in Iron 1 was one of the most interesting classes if you just removed fear from your boss. You need to explain? I'm just yeah, I mean, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not taking it seriously. I'm just like, if someone says something or asks a question, I will always answer in earnest. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, this is why I'm here, right? Like, if I was just gonna be sitting here to play in complete fucking silence, why even fucking stream? You know? Like, streaming is like 40% about the game, 60% about the interaction with the people. You know what I mean? You probably understand complaints about Elementalist? Yes, I do. And at the end of the day, this is why I'm saying that. I mean, I can kind of go gloss over what I already want to see change on Elementalist based on, like, my literally, like, maybe combined 4 hours of playtime with it. But I want to see the pets be put on a separate bar and not be skills. Summoning skills should be on a pet bar. I also want to see more control over the pets. You know, I want to be able to, like, just make a pet auto attack a target without having to attack it myself. I want to be able to, like, make the pet disengage and to unsummon the pet by myself, right? Which should also be on the pet bar. And the pets should not be tied to levels, right? Like, the pets should just have the form that they have based on the Elementalist level. And then instead of the pets, I would put pet skills, just like in Iron 1, that do different stuff based on which pet you have out, right? So the current skill that the pets have tied to them, when you summon them, I would just have them be on that one skill, and then I would have a skill that, like, provides a buff to the group, against tied to, like, which pet you have out, and stuff like that. I would like to see, I think it's this skill, right? Yeah, this skill be a default skill, right? I want to see this skill be a default skill. I would like the class to do less damage, right? I think the burstiness, specifically when it comes to the burstiness of Ancient Spirit, I think it's just the wrong direction for this class, right? Like, yeah, it's all of these things, right? And obviously, I want to see the game slow down a bit. TTK get longer, so this class has more potential to cook, because within its kit, the class has potential to do interesting stuff. It has the dispels, it has the seals, it has the taunts. It still has fear, which means that, but because fear is Defiance tied, if let's say, okay, let's say if you gave the Wind Spirit a pet skill that stunned the target, you would be able to juggle between your fear and your spirit stun. I know the Fire Spirit has one as well, right? But you would be able to juggle between these to like fish Defiance and stun people that use Defiance, right? Like that would give you more avenues. Like there's just a lot, you know, I would do with this class. And hello, Iridian. Let me care if you change your mind. I can try Abyss Arena for shits and giggles. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe down the line, right? Wouldn't that give the class more abilities in general compared to other classes? I mean, not really. I don't think... I think the pets are more... I don't really consider summoning pets as skills. You know what I mean? It's just an identity thing. You know what I mean? So just having the pets be separate and then having pet skills, I think effectively does the same, but gives the opportunity to like have less bloat on the bar. Because the problem with Elementalist right now is that you have full skills dedicated to summoning pets, and because that's the case, you're basically like wasting slots, because realistically you're only using like a certain amount of pets in certain situations. Like in PvE you're really only using like wind and water, and then in PvP you're using like mostly wind and water as well, a little bit of earth for the taunt, right? I don't think you use fire for the knockdown right now too much. It unsummons if you click on the icon at the end of the mana bar. I don't know if that's bindable. Yeah, but that's just... I think having a pet bar would be more concise, right? Give me Ether Tech. Pet summons are damage skills and free nukes. Just move all 4 and get bigger nuke. You're supposed to rotate through all the time. Yeah, I mean, I know. But I would still prefer if... that was integrated in the form of a pet skill, and then the pet summoning would be on the pet bar. I still think that would be better, right? Also, you don't even need to rotate through all 4. You basically need to rotate through 2 of them at this point, right? To get elemental fusion. Just put them in the same slot. Yeah, but nah. I kind of want... I'm not a big fan of the whole like putting all of your skills on the same bar, on the same slot, just because you technically use them in succession. Like I'm not a fan of that. Even on Cleric, I could be putting like what should we call it? Chain of Torment, Condemnation, and all of that on the same button as Judgment Thunder. I don't like that. I don't like that personally. Right, like freeing up those slots would allow them to give Elementalists more buttons. Is basically my point, right? And if you put the summons into a pet bar, and you just put the skill that the summons use when they get summoned into a separate button, then you effectively combine all of these into a single button, and then you have 3 slots to give Elementalists more skills to play with. Like as I said, right? Like that's one of the main things I would change. Because it feels like right now they are stuck with the fact that Elementalist functionally only has like these skills to work with to really have diversity, which is one of the main reasons why they are giving Elementalist so much burst damage instead of like giving it the proper like developed kit that it deserves, you know? And like it really feels like you are pressed for your stigma slots on Elementalist. Some skills that are stigmas feel like they should be default skills, you know what I mean? What kind of gear would you recommend for going into Ludra for the first time? What kind of gear? I mean, it depends on whether you're just doing the first 2 bosses or if you're also doing Ludra. If you're also doing Ludra, I would not go below 3k personally. And then The gear, I would say, doesn't matter too much. I don't think you need crafted gear for Ludra right now, especially because you're just likely to have people that will have juiced DPS in your group, right? But at least try to have the proper soul binds on like the important slots, like attack speed, movement speed, all of that. Yeah, like the silence should be part of the default kit. I also think that Elementalist should have a small dispel as part of its default kit. Like something that dispels like one buff, you know what I mean? And like you can keep the big dispel that also puts a seal as a stigma, you know what I mean? But it's just stuff that should be part of the default kit that just are not, you know? Also, considering the fact that Fear is dispellable now, I think that because you know how basically every class has a charge skill on number 4, I think you could have a single target Fear as a charge spell that just lasts longer and maybe has a secondary effect or something the longer you charge it. So this way you can technically just like, you know how Sorcerer has multiple freezes, and even with the Defiance thing, like Sorc still is able to like freeze you to fish for Defiance and then freeze you again when your Defiance is down. I think Elementalist could do that with Fear. I think that's fair, right? So like you have the Insta Fear that lasts for like a little bit of time, and then you would have a charged like single target Fear to punish people who use Defiance. You know what I mean? Especially if the TTK gets longer and you have more of an option whether you actually want to press Defiance on the Insta-Fear or not. You could even make the Insta-Fear like be shorter, you know, to balance it out, obviously. Like make it 3 seconds instead of 5, right? But I think there's room to do stuff like that if you open up a few slots in your skill bar. Like and I think this type of stuff is what Elementalist needs, not more damage. Like that's the main problem I have right now. I mean, then again, you know, I've been playing Elementalist for like 4 hours. So maybe I'm out of touch, but yeah, that's what I think. Because otherwise, I do think the class has a lot of interesting things going for it. Like even as is right now, I think the class has a lot of potential. I think it's a really good class. It's just that in terms of its identity and what it does, especially in PvP, I would change a few things. And I would take damage away from this. Ancient Spirit. Like, I would do what I said, and I would take damage away from this. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I think Ancient Spirit should be a PvE skill. You know what I mean? I think in PvP, it should not be... This should not be a burst skill in PvP. I think you should be fishing for utility on your stigmas in PvP. I think this is a mistake for this to be as powerful as it is in PvP. And I hope this is going to be part of like the rebalance they do with the damage formula separation between PvE and PvP. Miss my Elementalist, yeah. I mean, hey, it's going to come back stronger, right? By the time it reaches global, then it's probably going to be a lot more enjoyable. Elementalist and Sins are victims in PvP. I mean, possibly, yeah. Obviously, I haven't played it in PvP, but I will say that as a cleric, Elementalist is very scary. As a cleric, at least with my gear level, right? And I do see the potential. Like, I've seen Elementalists do insane shit to me, especially when it comes to like taunting and seal covering and so on. So the potential is here, but as I said, and I will say this again, right? Because maybe you weren't here when I said that. I think Elementalist, and to some extent, maybe Assassin, right? Are victims of the TTK as well. Like, I think if you allow those, if you give those classes like better kits when it comes to like CCing, like CC pinning people and stuff like that, and you make the TTK much longer, those classes will thrive. And Elementalist especially, even in the current state, I think the biggest thing Elementalist is suffering from is the fact that because of the current TTK against certain classes, you're basically not allowed to cook enough, right? The fight ends too fast for you to actually put your kit online, which is why a lot of Elementalists just like press the Ancient Spirit button and hope they one-shot the target, instead of trying to be more deliberate with what they do, right? So if the TTK gets longer, an Elementalist is allowed to actually cover people and like work around the seals and so on and so forth, I do think that even as is, Elementalists would thrive a lot more. And then if they do the stuff that I just talked about as well on top of it, then yeah, I think Elementalists can cook. Because Elementalists right now in PvP, now again, this is just like my my napkin review, right? But I think Elementalist mainly struggles from the fact that it is slower than other classes. It is slower, and it requires to like. I guess Elementalist has a, how to put it. It thrives the most when it's allowed to have the jump. You know what I mean? Because if it has the jump, then it can cook a lot better. Which is why I think Elementalist probably performs a lot better in like arena than it does in open world. Because you're able to like prep for your opponent a lot better, and you're able to like start the fight properly and press your cooldowns. Whereas like in open world PvP, if it gets jumped by like an assassin or a gladiator or something like that, then it probably gets fucked before it has a chance to properly buff up, get the pet out, and do the proper like prep in terms of like debuffs and CCs. Elementalist is pretty good, definitely a sleeper class with potential. Yes. Right now, that's my opinion. Elementalist definitely is not a shit class. I do think a lot of people are probably playing the class wrong. But I can also agree with the fact that the class has some very, very glaring design problems. Just like many other classes in this game, right? It's just that some classes struggle less with class design problems because they're just inherently strong or fast, which is really important in the current meta. Like I just hope that when they change up the TTK in PvP and like change the damage formula, they're gonna go back and change the classes that are like strictly built on burst and give them more utility. You know what I mean? Ranger is another good example of that. The way people play Ranger right now is literally just like press Vassal and then spam, like press Vassal, put the mark, use your like huge charge skill that is not a charge skill anymore, and then just spam left click, right click. There's kind of like no brains in Ranger right now. Like Ranger is completely brain dead in the way it plays right now, and it does have the stigmas that has like silence, it has a sleep, it has traps, you know, it has multiple types of CCs, so on and so forth. But because of the way the TTK is right now, most people just play Ranger in a completely brain dead way. And I hope the TTK change will, first of all, change this approach, but number two, they will also like go back and change some of the design stuff. They won't. They will have to. Because at the end of the day, if the TTK is as long, if they make the TTK as long as on Iron 1, for example, I accidentally unequipped that. If they make the TTK as long as on Iron 1, then classes that solely rely on doing damage will simply not function anymore. You know what I mean? So, yeah. They will have to go back and add more utility as time goes by. If they actually change up the TTK that drastically. Like, okay, quick flash question in chat. For the people in chat. how many of you played Iron 1? And especially how many of you played on like the later patches of Iron 1? So like late 4.x, 5.x. Like just a quick flash question. Because obviously I keep talking about Iron 1 TTK, but if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, then obviously that doesn't really help you, right? Only started 4.5 here, TTK. TTK is time to kill. It's the length that a PvP encounter takes until someone dies. It means time to kill. That's literally what it means. 4.x glad. I didn't even know what Iron until Throne died. Damn. But yeah, for anyone unfamiliar with like Iron 1 and especially the later stages of Iron 1, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you know what? We're gonna do a little something because this is a chill stream anyways, right? I think we can agree. So we're gonna do something a bit different. Let me just do that real quick. Let me just like take a small trip down memory lane. How about that? Guess I'll just do... Do I have the full screen thing? I do. Alright, I just need to move it a bit. Although, I guess that's fine, actually. Yeah, let me show you, just so you can understand, let me just like briefly show you how the TTK was on Iron 1 in comparison to Iron 2 right now. I'll go back to like the retail times, and then maybe we can take a look at Ion Classic for like more recent, like a more recent take to the old school, which old school had a longer TTK, right? Self promo, not even, dude. It's just I know what I'm posting, so at least I'm gonna be able to take a look at this, right? So what would I look at even? I don't even know. I guess this, right? Yeah. You know what? That's fine. So, just so you guys understand, this is 5.x. I think about this date format. It's the correct one. Fuck off. But the Iron 1 EU server, I'm just nobody, just playing dungeons. Yeah, I mean, I guess this will be a good example. So, I'm just gonna show you this, and I'll show you a couple of other ones. This is a 1v1 arena in the 5.1 patch, right? I'm playing Chanter, my opponent is playing Gladiator, right? My opponent was the biggest whale in Europe. He was the absolute biggest whale in Europe. This guy has 50 times my gear. So this is just like... Also, I'm pretty sure this guy still, even to this day, still fucking plays retail and still is a whale, which is kind of funny. But anyways, so this is just to like set you down. Now, the HP bar is going to be at the top here, right? So you're going to be able to see the TTK, which is the time it takes to kill a player. So just look at the way the HP bars are moving. But me as a free-to-play, like less gear, so on and so forth, I had freshly, like, not freshly, but I had re-rolled from Assassin to Chanter, like, against a big whale, and like, everything... all of the different like counterplays and different like stuff that you have to do to like navigate through a PvP encounter, right? And you just look at this and you look at the time it takes for each kills to happen, the way the game plays, the way the HP bar moves, and this is what I mean by slowing down the TTK down to Iron 1's level. If they get the TTK of Iron 2 to this level, then they will absolutely have to go back and change a few things. Okay, I'm kiting this guy because he just used a special buff that has half an hour cooldown. So I'm just kiting him until the buff expires because otherwise I would be putting myself in danger. Right, I'm basically playing really, really defensively because I know that if I go on a frontal fight, he's gonna win the battle of attrition, right? Because he has more gear than me. Like he has a like this is a Seal Theostone. This is a Silent Godstone for people if you're not familiar with Iron 1. And He has a special one that he got from a fucking pay-to-win event that procs all the time, right? So I keep having to kite it, like, you know. But I'm able to navigate through the fight by doing all of that, by just like playing my cooldowns and just taking my time with it, because the TTK is so long. And that's the difference it makes. If the fight is long, then obviously you're able to take things slower and to be more like precise with everything you do. So you see that this video has started 2 minutes ago, and the first fight is still going. Also, tell me if this is interesting to you. If this is boring as shit to you, like, just let me know, right? But I just want to demonstrate what I mean by the difference between IN1 and IN2, right? Also, switching gear to many buttons. Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously different game in many aspects, but you know. So yeah. So that was a 5.x fight. Let me show you a 2.x fight, which the fights in 2.x were shorter. The game was simpler, right? Let me show you something from classic. I mean, I guess this, right? Do I have a 1v1 arena in this? Let me see if I have a 1v1 arena. I mean, I keep doing 1v1s and encountering people in open world, but I guess, yeah, this is a 1v1 arena, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's take a look at this 1v1 arena. So I'm playing Templar, my opponent is, what? Okay, my opponent is a Gladiator. So this is Classic, which was one of the, playing on an earlier patch of the game was a lot simpler, and the TTK was a lot shorter than the patch I just showed, right? But all the same, just look at the time it takes to like navigate through the fight and everything we have to do, right? Like, obviously you can tell the HP bars are moving a lot faster, but I still think this is a pretty healthy TTK compared to what we have in IN2 right now. Both of us have fairly equal gear, right? I think this guy maybe had a little bit more gear than me. Again, I'm a free-to-play player, right? So, yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know if I have any other examples. I mean, this is a Cleric, I guess. I guess I can just let the video play for a bit. But yeah, like, basically IN1 was a lot more focused around CCs and more deliberate play rather than just raw damage because of the essence of the TTK, right? And now I know that I'm about to one-shot this guy, but there is a huge gear gap between me and this guy. So let's just ignore that. But yeah, this is kind of what I hope to see from IN2, basically, when it comes to the TTK. But yeah, I hope this helped you understand a bit what I mean. And if you want to see more IN1 video, you can. I literally like have 12, 13 years of uploading cringe PvP montages of IN1 on my YouTube video, so I guess be my guest if you want to browse through them, you know? Also playing on different private servers. I do agree with what you said about the TTK. For me, IN1 is more like skill based. Every skill you throw has a purpose, especially, yeah. Like, as I always say, IN1's PvP is built on three fundamental things, and even all of the special tech and everything matters less than those fundamentals. Number one, remove shock play. Remove shock is defiance. So a lot of IN1's PvP hinges on remove shock baiting to be able to pin a target. Number two, covering. What covering is you know, healing potions. We had those in IN1 as well. And basically covering is putting useless debuffs before using your useful debuff. So this way the opponent cannot remove the actual problematic debuff with a healing potion. That's number two. Number three was weaving. In IN1, auto attacks, I mean, I guess weaving exists on this game as well with the MP skill. But being able to have a good good grasp on your weaving and animation cancelling was very essential to optimizing your DPS in Iron 1. And then number 4 is following, especially for melee classes, which is like sticking up to your target, which was a lot harder in Iron 1. These 4 were the essence of Iron 1, right? What was Abyss, larger scale, longer TTK in the first video? Well, I can tell you exactly, actually. That's actually quite an interesting thought, Larry. The way ZVZ worked in Iron 1 was because everything was single target and the TTK was longer, typically ignoring all of the strategy behind taking the castle and artifacts and everything, the biggest difference was that you had to listen to your raid lead, and basically the most efficient people were getting a mass to be stronger than the other mass was by having each alliance leader, which alliance is the equivalent of forces, right? Each alliance leader would mark a target with a 1, and then everyone in the alliance would keybind targeting the target that is marked 1, right? So basically like if there's an important target, the alliance leader marks as 1, everyone targets 1, kills the target, and do that over and 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 over, right? Like that was the most efficient way to handle ZVZ in Iron 1. So you had to be kind of coordinated. Especially to kill X forms and stuff, right? Like coordinating like all 500, 600, 700 people to target an X form down in Iron 1 was kind of essential in Siege and stuff like that. Because X forms had like 150k health. You know? Every X form getting destroyed, even Governor X forms, yeah. Like that was the way you handled that. They also have 30-second cooldown Iron 1. I don't know why that 10 seconds here. I mean, it's just because the combat in general is faster and cooldowns are shorter, right? That's probably to alleviate that. And also, that was probably balanced around like Theostones and stuff. I really know. Also got an X form with that skills, also a game changer. Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot more strategic, right? Like, Commander and Governor X forms had a special skill that allowed them to stun everyone in a 40-meter range, and it was a stun that lasted for 5 seconds and that you could not defiance, right? So basically coordinating a push into the enemy mass alongside a Commander or a Governor that is X-formed and that presses the stun was essential. And like Siege in general in Iron 1 was very much like this. It had a target cap, yeah, it did, but it was, number 1, it was quite large, and number 2, it worked on enemy X forms, which means that you could use that to like push other X forms. I need to use an emote, I guess, right? Applaud. Like, it was the same with like timing artifacts and all of that, right? Trying to heal your X form commander was stressful, yeah. I mean, it was also pretty satisfying. Like, healing such a huge HP pool with like Noble and stuff like that was pretty satisfying. And then Acquittal was the cheat code. This guy having 24 target cap on his AoE, yeah. I mean, as a Gladiator, dude, Gladiator X form rushing a pack of people hitting a castle gate is probably one of the biggest rush of dopamine you could get in Iron 1. You know, there's like literally like 1,000 people just stacked on top of each other on a tiny gate. Thanks, Mika. Good night. Yeah, good night, Mika. Like, yeah, like Iron 1 X form on Gladiator, just on a castle gate. 600 people stacked on top of the castle gate, just trying to target down the castle gate. You just full buff as a X form Glad. You just drop on top of the castle gate, you spam every single AoE that exists, and you just like, you just watch your kill feed. Yeah, that was one of the biggest like rush of dopamine. Yeah, especially since you got additional AoEs, right? With Abyssal Storm and Like, if you were governor, you also had the Abyssal Tidal Wave, it was called, I believe. Yeah. General X-Form Cleric also felt like a cheat code. I mean, Cleric X-Form was just... The thing is that Cleric X-Form wasn't necessarily the most threatening, but it was actually fucking unkillable because of Salvation, right? I mean, every class had a specific niche they kind of filled as an X-Form, you know? Except, I would say some X-Forms were pretty fucking bad. I think Ranger X-Form was terrible. Assassin X-Form was not the best. Chanter X-Form was okay, but it didn't have any like X-Form specific tricks up its sleeve, right? Good fun as DPS, Cleric X-Form and EB alliances, yeah. And Cleric X-Form was just like really fun. It just was. I had the Governor X-Form as a Cleric at some point. It was really fun. Although I will say that when I played Templar on EU Classic, like Templar X-Form is also really fun. Because you still have like HP percent killings, right? And you were still pretty tanky. You had the pull to like guarantee kills on like high ranks. Like it was really good. Good fun as a DPS. Yeah. In Classic, Elios had Governor. She was almost there every siege nightmare to deal with. Yeah. I mean, it's just really solid, especially as a siege tool, because Cleric can just kind of get in and like waste time, you know, and then get like positioned properly to get the stuns off, and it's a really good like engage opener, because Cleric can go in and like waste people cooldowns and like still be completely fine and safe. And then obviously with the Abyssal Execution scaling off of Magic Boost, which I will never understand why they did that. That was a weird design decision, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, like the fact that Abyssal Execution scaled off of Magic Boost, and you could one-shot 5-star Officer X-Forms as a Governor was it was certainly an interesting thing. I wonder why they made the PvP so brain dead in this game. I mean, it's been getting better. Like it's like what I was saying earlier, right? Like if you compare the PvP between now and how it was at released, it got significantly better already. It still needs a lot of work, and I do think that what they announced in the sense that modifying the PvP damage formula to like have control over the TTK better is the good first step to take to then take bigger steps to improve this game's PvP. But you know, at least it's already a lot better than it used to be. So I am willing to let them cook because of that. Far in retail, Cleric was the top DPS in every dungeon. Probably in the very late patches, right? Change maybe we'll get more skills to have more stingray still to use in the future. I think they just want to make the skill bar be less stiff in what you do with it to begin with. But it could obviously mean that we will also get more skills down the line. Who knows, right? Who knows what they're cooking. Game is definitely going in the right direction, but I know everything feels the same for me. Run away from Chanter, Templar, and Cleric now. Yeah, I mean that's because, okay, the reason why you're running away from Chanter, Templar, and Cleric is because they're the only classes that feel the closest to Iron 1 in the way they play, you know? They are I would argue they are some of the only classes in the game. Now, there are a couple of exceptions, but they are some of the only classes in the game that don't just purely rely on just bursting a target down by pressing the funny damage button. You know, they have CC, they have utility, they are able to cook properly because they take longer to kill, which is That's the important part. Because I do think even some of the DPS classes, like I was just saying, like Elementalist, for example, if you just allow them to have a longer fight and to cook more, they would be a lot more interesting. A lot of the problem is a lot of the problems this game have in PvP right now hinges on the TTK. You know what I mean? So fixing the TTK and the damage formula very much is the first step to take. Yeah. Note found on the corpse. It's probably at the entrance, right? Yeah. A month ago, you called me stupid. Oh. In 3.0, for a while, Cleric top DPS in every siege. In 3.0? I'm trying to remember Cleric in 3.0. The problem, one of the problems I had with 3.0 is that I was stuck on a server where we basically had 20 active players against a faction of 400 people, so we were just kind of chilling, you know what I mean? But I didn't really get to see everything to its max potential. I don't know how the DPS was. Although I do pretty distinctly remember, because I played Assassin in 3.0, and I pretty distinctly remember being top DPS and everything as an Assassin. So yeah, I don't remember about Cleric being top DPS at that time. Is it when they added Magic Boost Staff? What did 3.0 have weapon-wise? I'm trying to remember. Maybe the Rentus one? Was the Vashalti? I think I remember the Vashalti staff being attack. Assassin just feels bad in PvP in general. I have more gear than you do and can't really compete with the highest level, even worse now with the evasion nerf. Assassin is a bit of a weird one. I'll say that. Now obviously, like, I have to take, you know, like I am getting fucked by some Assassin, but again, a lot of it hinges on gear differential, ping differential, so on and so forth, right? But I can understand why Assassin is probably getting fucked in PvP right now. But I will say that it's another case of, if they just focus on making Assassin a stun machine again, and they make the TTK longer, Assassin would thrive a lot better than the way it is right now. I mean, Cleric did get access to the magic damage stance in 3.0. I forgot the name. The one that looked like a hand and like it was a black hand in the middle of a red icon. I don't remember the name. And it was a stance, right? So yeah, the DPS Cleric was definitely strong in 3.x. I do remember that, but being top DPS in PV, I don't remember that, because I do remember still being top DPS as an Assassin in 3.x. Enochian for Cleric. It was basically like Cleric stance, like old Cleric stance. Yeah. But yeah, like, I'm willing to let them cook, because at the end of the day, it's pretty obvious they've been fairly desperate to, like, because dude, they have changed the damage formula and like calculation. They've done stat squishes and everything in an attempt to reduce TTK in PvP from day one. They've done like 5, 6, 7 passes of like trying to nerf damage in PvP, you know? So it's obvious that they are really desperate to try and get the TTK to a similar level to Iron 1. So we'll see we'll see when they finally achieve that TTK, what they decide to do with the class. Which is, again, I think that also goes hand in hand with the fact that they have very specifically said that they are stopping class rebalance every week and so on and so forth. Because I think they just want to like fix the bigger encompassing problem before changing class balance again. Are you getting up here, Sam? I'm just gonna get it up to par to like be a competent ult to begin with, and then I'll see how far I push it. Maybe I'll push it as far as doing like Sanctuary and stuff like that down the line. Yeah, a generous viewer paid for the character slot for me to play Elementalist, so I'm just gonna get it at least up to par with my other ults for now. Also, I need to get it up to dungeon farming status to do the Arcana Battle Pass and get the gold cards for it as well. At the bare minimum, so yeah. Because I don't really want to just like spend Kina to finish the pass. Because I need the Kina on my main, as it may. Weird concept, I know, but I don't really want to spend Kina on my ults if I can avoid it. Let me go to that Bloodhaven thing. But we'll see what they have in store. We'll see what they have in store. I'm already so happy that they fixed so many things that were incredibly big problems with PvP. Like, we got those out of the way, you know what I mean? Like, at least this is not something we're gonna have to worry about anymore. Like, Theostones are in an acceptable spot right now. Like, I would argue that Theostones are in a more acceptable state than Godstones were in Iron 1 right now. I think that's a fair thing to say. I think Theostones are less bothersome than Godstones were in Iron 1 in their current state. So that's really good. The fact that Freeze and Fear are not like stupid like insta-wins anymore is great. The fact that grab skills are not killing PvP anymore is great. Although my personal opinion is that they need to address the problem with the grab skills being functionally useless in PvP now. They need to make them useful again. They need to balance them in a way. They need to find a way to make them useful again without going back to how they were initially. Not everyone had a paralyzed godstone. I know a lot of people had silence. Yeah, but even when you look at seal stones, right? Like if you compare the way seal stones are right now compared to the way silent stones were in Iron 1, seal theostones are a lot more manageable than silence godstones were in Iron 1 right now, which is great because I don't think anybody liked godstones in Iron 1. So I'm happy that we are getting to a point where they're not as debilitating in PvP anymore. They're not as much of a deciding factor in PvP. It was funny to see Brock. Yeah. I mean, it was also like a soft, unbalanced balancing thing because obviously, like let's say in a Gladiator versus Spirit Master matchup in Iron 1, like you needed the random knockdowns and the silence procs to be even remotely have a chance, like at all. So it served that purpose, but in this game, I don't think we need that. Like it's better this way. Damage Godstone proc was a dopamine rush. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need more damage right now, but if they do make the TTK slow, I guess they could address damage Theostones not doing damage in PvP, I suppose. Just to give more options. I think more options is fine as long as it's balanced. I liked watching my DPS Chanter friend randomly one-shot people with that 1% damage Godstone. Yeah. I mean, I have there is a video on my channel from Iron 1 where, like, in a random open world encounter, I was fighting a cleric as a cleric myself. It was a cleric v cleric, And I was fighting him for like a good, like, several minutes. And then eventually he just pressed Chastise when I was at full health. And it procced a 1% for like, and it one-shot me. And it just like ended the fight. And I was like, it was actually pretty funny. Yeah, good night, Rostov. Thanks for passing by. I think it was actually good for the game. I mean, it was, again, Iron 1 was not an esports game, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, right? So, whatever. I think some wackiness is like fine. To not make the game too sweaty. Like it's, I don't mind. It's just that the way Theostones were at the beginning of the game was actually kind of stupid. Like undispellable seal, no limitation on proc, constant procs, like all of it was just terrible for the health of PvP. We are watching a cutscene. Damn. You kind of punched that bitch. That's crazy. Alright. So anyways, guys, as I said, bit of a shorter stream today, but because I am still exhausted, I am still, you know, dealing with a bit of a situation, but at least I'm happy I was able to get a more sizable stream today. Because tomorrow I should not be moving too much. I'm probably gonna be available more, so I should be able to do a longer stream early into the day. So I will try to do my sanctuary stuff, but for now I'm gonna be done. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting with me. It's always a pleasure, especially in these trying times. Like it's really nice to just sit down and talk about the video game with other people. So yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for the follows today. Don't forget to follow the channel both on Twitch and YouTube if you haven't already. If you have a Twitch Prime you haven't used, I could get that right now. it could be of use. And thanks for the follow, Sul. And yeah, I will be seeing you guys probably tomorrow for an early stream. Take it easy. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, see you next time. Let me check if Ankh is online. If I can host him, maybe. Probably not, but who knows, right? Okay, now he's not around. Yeah, no one is online. Yeah, alright.